The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome on into a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, check out the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown before you make the commitment to purchase that new or used car. Ron Potesta with you, a very, very upset.
You know, like we talked about, like it's really not. I mean, it hurts, it sucks, but you know, how mad can you be about your team being in the Super Bowl? I mean,
Well, you know,
for the second year in a row.
you could be upset.
I
I was upset for 4 years in a row, but you know.
I messaged the YSN group chat last night. I said, if I drank, I'd be drunk right now, and if I swore, I'd be swearing. But since I don't do either one of those things,
Yeah.
it was a good night. You know, I was upset for like maybe a half an hour or an hour, and then what I did is I went on Twitter, and I saw how some of the Chiefs fans I followed were reacting and the way they were acting on Twitter, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be those people.
Yeah.
So I just kind of put it in perspective, and
Yeah.
and you know, I just let it go after my mom. I wish I could be her. My mom roots really hard, and then when we lose, she just goes, "Well, bummer," and then goes back to housework. So
There you go. Yeah. Look, the game.
You know,
the game's 100 years old, but it's still won and lost
in the trenches.
And if
Both
you don't,
our lines didn't really do their job.
Exactly. And honestly, I think Kansas City will be heard from because their tackles will get healthy, and you'll be back at full strength, and everything will be great.
But I have a lot of respect for Patrick Mahomes after that game because he was totally just. Like,
He was hit and beaten.
He was beaten like a drum.
Yeah.
Pun intended, because the Chiefs banged the drum.
Yeah.
But he fought like crazy to try to make plays for his team. I mean, he made a throw on the dime where he was horizontal to the ground.
Yep.
Hit his wide receiver in the face mask. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he was just running around for his life all day.
And that was the end of it. I mean,
Right.
You get a pass rush on him, and he's human.
He can still make throws. I mean, that's the thing. When Tyreek Hill dropped the ball that went through his hands, I said, it's going to be one of those days. You know,
It just is what it is.
You got to help your quarterback out when he's running around trying to just chuck balls in the air. If you had a chance to catch him, you got to catch him.
You got to catch him.
So we didn't, and couldn't stop the run on defense, and that makes life a lot easier for Tom Brady. And
at the end of the day, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The game is 100 years old, or at least the National Football League is 100 years old. And one thing has never changed. You have to have a good offensive line. You have to have a good defensive line. If you don't have both, you might be able to win. But you better have an offensive line to protect your franchise quarterback.
that one hit he took, my heart dropped.
Horrible.
When the 3 Buccaneers were swarming on him, and
Yeah.
he got bent like a pretzel.
Yeah.
I said, no.
Yeah.
And then, you could tell that he had the toe thing because he ran for 2 first downs in the first drive. He didn't run after that.
No,
he was limping around a little bit.
And I knew that was going to affect him too. It was there were a lot of variables.
It's a perfect storm.
Yeah, I had Tampa Bay winning, and I had the under. And when it was announced that both tackles weren't going to play, I was pretty much comfortable knowing that was going to happen.
Even with that, I did not expect Kansas City to not score a touchdown.
Well, no, I didn't expect
was
that. I was expecting like a 24-21.
Right.
24-20 type of game. I didn't expect 31-9.
The first 2 drives of the game, I was like, okay, our defense is playing well, their defense is playing well. This might be a knockdown, drag-out kind of low-scoring game. But, Buccaneers made a couple adjustments on offense real quick, and they started to run the ball a little bit better, and we couldn't get a pass rush on Tom Brady. He was pressured 4 times out of
he was only hit twice.
35 dropbacks.
Yeah, he was only hit twice the whole game.
And then Mahomes statistically was pressured more than any quarterback in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
So
it's tough. It's tough when you're getting pressured all the time, that's for sure. All right, over the weekend, the guys' tournaments came out. Also over the weekend, YSU family losing one of its own. Darius Shackleford was killed in a car accident late Saturday night just a senseless, and I do mean senseless tragedy.
Like, it wasn't anywhere close to his fault. It was some guy trying to run away from the police.
Which just editorial comment. I hope he's charged with murder, but that's just me. Bob Hannon will be joining the show at 2:00. We'll preview or talk about the Penguins. It's going to be an every Monday occurrence at 2:00. We'll get Bob on as the Penguins are 12 days away from starting the football season. Yeah, football season will exist.
Hey, wait a minute.
Even though the NFL is officially done, we still have football if you're a YSU fan.
Yeah, and what you do in every football season. You just hope that they can get through a whole season.
Exactly. We're back to hoping and praying that everyone can, stay away from COVID. Make sure nobody gets you don't get a COVID outbreak, and there you go.
That's what I love about being a sports fan, though, like a universal sports fan. One of your teams loses, you get up the next day, you start rooting for other sports.
There you go.
It's like, hey, let's go. It's baseball season. It's softball season this week, and let's just keep moving forward.
Yeah, normally in a normal circumstance, my first thought would have been after the Super Bowl was over, okay, here we are, February the 8th. We're 1 week away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Let's go. Well, we're not done with football because Youngstown State's going to be playing. Now it's like the sports gods have really changed stuff, and I'm like, wait a second. You mean I still have football? Well, I got baseball over here, but I still have football, and I got basketball, and I got college baseball coming up in 2 weeks. Actually, what is it? 1 week from Friday, the YSU baseball season starts. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun.
On the flip side, softball starts this weekend. So,
yeah, the YSU women's softball program gets underway this weekend, and hopefully we can do a little something with the softball coach as well. Maybe that's your assignment.
Yeah,
when you're on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, let's see if we can get the softball coach to call in once a week.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we do have tournament brackets. Much like the girls, the tournament brackets were announced on Sunday afternoon, and much like last week, Monday is going to be Bracketology 101, and we will start with Division 4. Now, on the program today, we will hear from Dana Balish from TV 21. He'll be calling in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline at 1 o'clock. Bob Hannon will talk YSU football. Penguins open up next Saturday, 1 week from Saturday, in Fargo, North Dakota, at the Fargo Dome, Canada Light. The Penguins go up against the defending FCS national champion, North Dakota State Bison. Their schedule is a schedule from hell, the first 4 games. Hopefully the Penguins can get at least 2 wins out of that, and then it eases up significantly.
Like literal hell, like Dante's Inferno's 7th circle of hell. That's the first 4 weeks?
Yeah, it's North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, South Dakota State, in 3 of the 4 games, and you're like, who did we piss off to deserve this schedule? Come on.
What did we do?
Yeah, it's like the men's basketball team is looking over at the football team and saying, I see you held our beer. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into the Division 4 high school playoffs, the tournaments which will start in earnest on February the 23rd,
and
which
by the
is
way,
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Let's just take this time to say, if you missed it on Sunday night right before kickoff of the big game, DJ came on and he announced on YSN that we will have tournament coverage for basketball. It will be pay-per-view to try to help us financially with the paying the OHSAA the money that they want for broadcasting tournament games. So we are making a pay-per-view. $9.99 will get you the entire day, and most of these tournament games, every game's on the same day. So $9.99 will probably get you Division 4. I'm guessing Division 3 is on the same day.
Absolutely.
And I think everything, at least in the girls, everything except Division 1 is on the same day.
It's the same thing with the boys.
So you'll get the exact all the tournament games for that day for $9.99. Will get you. So you're basically paying for, 25 cents per game if you look at it.
Do we get an opportunity to get Ackelson over here to do an open look tournament style?
Friday nights. We'll probably do an open look. So
that's
we're gonna have fun with tournaments time. We're just gonna have to ask people to be a little bit, patient with the pay-per-view stuff because we it's been free for the whole season. We get it, but financially it's a little bit more burdenful to do tournament games. But we will do it. We got you covered. And we're the only people in town that are going to do it. So,
all right, let's take a look at the tournaments. They start on Tuesday, February the 23rd. All of these games will start at 7 o'clock. We are right now in Northeast 2. Well, let's go Northeast 1 first. They're in the same region as Northeast 2. They will not play each other in the regional semifinals. We'll get that far when we start previewing both of them. First, Northeast 1. Southern Local is the 9 seed. They will play host to Matthews. Matthews is the 12 seed. The winner of that game will play on Friday night, February the 26th in Columbiana against Heartland Christian at the old Columbiana High School. And Heartland Christian is number 3 in this tournament.
That brings up the first interesting point. We have finally seen a 2 seed decide to go into the 1 seed's bracket and take on the 1 seed. So Warren JFK voted the 2 seed in the Northeast District. They decide, hey, let's just take on the 1 seed in the districts, instead of getting their own bracket. So
yeah, that was the big surprise in Division 4 is the fact that JFK chose to go in the same bracket as McDonald. Now, I understand the decision because you want to be able to get McDonald early. That's the decision. That's the theory behind that. You'd rather get them now instead of wait for that freight train to go into the regionals, and then when they're already knee-deep into the tournaments, then you get a hold of them. There's different theories of that. Now, McDonald will sit back, look at this, and go, we're undefeated, and the 2 seed is going to come to our bracket? Okay, that's a little disrespectful, and they'll play the respect card.
McDonald's going to use that Michael Jordan meme from the documentary where he goes, and I took that personally.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a great way to look at it. But as we get into the top part of this D1, the D4 District 1 bracket, Southern will be hosting Matthews. That'll be a heck of a drive for Matthews to go from Vienna all the way down to Salineville.
Vienna sausages.
Yeah, and the winner will go to Columbiana to take on Heartland Christian. That will be an interesting part. Here's the other one that's very fascinating to me. Speaking of long trips, Badger is going to take the trip from extreme northern Trumbull County, Kinsman, Ohio, as the 19 seed, all the way down to the river, Wellsville, Ohio, where Bug Thompson and the boys will be awaiting. Wellsville is the 5 seed.
That's a very sneaky 5 seed, by the way.
And whoever wins that game gets to play Lisbon. Now, Lisbon, through the years, has had problems with Wellsville in the postseason. And it's interesting that right off the get-go, Lisbon gets the winner of Wellsville and Badger. That's interesting.
Right. And they'd have to go to Wellsville, too. So.
And they would have to go to Wellsville. So that's interesting, to say the least. Bottom bracket, St. Thomas Aquinas is the 10. They will host Chalker, the 22 seed. The winner of that game gets to go to Bristol, Bristolville. up in Trumbull County. So that's an interesting bottom bracket. And then here's the last of the bottom bracket. Brookfield is the 13 seed. They will host Lordstown, the 16 seed. Winner of that game goes to Lowellville to take on the number 6 Lowellville Rockets. Brookfield, it depends on which Brookfield team shows up. I've seen Brookfield play really good basketball, and then you've seen Brookfield struggle at times. And all of this is all about matchups. If Brookfield gets on a roll, this is a team that, even though they're seeded 13th, that's a sleeper type of a team.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all about matchups, and I haven't had the chance to watch Brookfield yet, so I don't know exactly what their strengths and weaknesses are. I did watch Lowellville over the weekend, that 6 seed that's waiting for the winner of that game, and they can be sneaky good. They got a really good post in Anthony Lucente, and then they have the Banofsky brothers that can both do great things from the perimeter, and they're both good drivers, and I think they have some pieces to make a tournament run in the Rockets gym. So I'm interested to see how this tournament shakes out. The fact that JFK went to McDonald's bracket opens this tournament up to a lot of chaos.
It certainly does, and it opens a tournament up for a Cinderella, where one of these teams gets to go to the regional, right, and gets crowned district champion. So when you think about this, all right, the 1 and 2, they're in the one bracket. Okay, you got the 3 in Heartland Christian, the 5 in Wellsville, the 7 in Lisbon, the 4 in Bristol, and the 6 in Lowellville. And to a man, all of them are pretty much equal. I mean, it depends on the matchup. Heartland Christian is the best seed. Do they get the easiest trip? I don't know. I mean, Southern is seeded 9th. Southern Local is a tough team when they're on their A game. This is a fascinating tournament.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun to see how it shakes out, because I think seeds from 3 down to even 9, I mean, they have a legitimate shot to win the district. So that's 6 teams that have a legitimate shot.
Okay, so let's put the hat on. Southern and Matthews. Indians against the Mustangs. The Indians are the 9 seed. The Mustangs are the 12 seed. Game's going to be played in Salineville. Who you got?
I got Southern, because I think that trip's going to be too much for Matthews to come back from, and I think Southern's a good matchup there, and I think they advance to Heartland.
Okay, I'm with you. And this is an even tougher trip. Kinsman, Ohio, all the way down to Wellsville. I'll take the Tigers in this game.
Yeah, you're not traveling to Wellsville and beating Bug Thompson in the first round. No way. Wellsville advances to Lisbon.
Okay, so you got Wellsville and Lisbon. You got Heartland Christian and Southern. 3 of those 4 teams are in the EOAC. Heartland Christian is a team that you might as well say they're kind of an EOAC team, because they've played all of these teams, yep, even though they're not officially in the league. Southern and Heartland is an interesting matchup, to say the least.
I think so, but I think Heartland's schedule is going to be a big advantage to them, because they do play the EOAC teams, but they also have the ability to go play upper division teams. They played South Range this weekend. So I think that schedule is going to give them a little bit of a leg up, so I would have Heartland Christian advancing past Southern into the district semifinal. Okay,
Lisbon and Wellsville. This, I mean, historically you go with Wellsville.
I know, but I think Ryan McCullough and Brownfield, they're both seniors. They both can shoot the lights out. I think Lisbon gets the Wellsville monkey off their back and upsets the Tigers in Wellsville.
If they're healthy, I like Lisbon. I just, but man, it's. That is such a that's such the 500-pound elephant in the room that you got to get off your back. If Lisbon's healthy, I like their chances.
Right.
But I'm with you on Heartland Christian. I think Heartland Christian they get into the to the district semifinals. Bristol playing the winner of St. Thomas Aquinas and Chalker.
I think Aquinas wins that game, so they'll play Bristol. And then I think down the other end, we talked about Brookfield. I don't think they'll have a problem with Lordstown. I think they advance to play Lowellville.
Okay. Lowellville and Brookfield.
taking the Rockets.
All right. Bristol and St. Thomas Aquinas.
See, this is hard because they're obviously not YSN schools, so we haven't seen them. I know Bristol is always sneaky good, but I'm gonna assume that St. Thomas Aquinas plays a really tough schedule as well as an independent. So I'm gonna say Aquinas wins over Bristol on the road.
Yeah, we're thinking an awful lot alike. Aquinas is a really they schedule up, so right. I do like that. I do like that in terms of getting that victory. There's something about Lowellville in the postseason. Now, the one thing about Lowellville in the postseason, they do all of their damage at the field house. There is no Struthers field house here. Right. I'll go Lowellville, but it wouldn't surprise me if Brookfield gets that job done. So we have Aquinas and Lowellville, and we have you have Lisbon and
you haven't picked that game yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go Lisbon. I'm going to go Lisbon. Lisbon and Heartland Christian in the top tier, and Aquinas and Lowellville in the bottom tier.
In Lowellville, by the way.
Yeah, it would be in Lowellville. Yes, it would be in Lowellville.
So good for that program if that happens, or they'd be hosting a district semifinal.
Yeah. So who do you got? Heartland Christian or Lisbon?
I got Heartland winning that game, going to the district championship, and as much as I liked what Lowellville did this weekend, and I think they have the pieces. Once again, that schedule for St. Thomas Aquinas scares me. But you know what? I'm going to do the YSN thing. I'm going to pick the YSN team, and I'm going to see the Rockets win at home and go to the district championship.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Heartland Christian and Lowellville for a district championship. All bets are off on this one.
Yeah, I think in that game, I think Heartland has a little bit more pieces to the puzzle and maybe a little more high-octane offense. So I would take Heartland to win the district.
I'm going to go with Lowellville.
I know it goes chalk, and that's kind of boring.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lowellville on
Lowellville
that.
Wins the district.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Lowellville. They show up in the tournaments, even though it's not a field house tournament. I'm gonna go Lowellville to go to the regionals. The other half of this is crazy. McDonald does not get a bye. They will open up with Bloomfield, the 24 seed. The winner of this game getting Ashtabula St. John. I think we can pretty much put McDonald in the district semifinals.
Like most one seeds in this super district setup, they're kind of put with two very low in the terms of high in the terms of number, low in the terms of talent wise seeds. So they should get right to the district semifinals.
Yeah, we'll put.
Can't talk that way as a coach, but we could talk that way as a media.
And like the 24 and the 23, the two lowest seeds. I'll put McDonald in the district semifinals. Valley Christian will be hosting Maplewood. Maplewood is the 21 seed. Whoever wins that game gets Wyndham, the 20 seed. So we can
pretty much say it's going to. Barring some kind of miraculous chaos, it's going to be McDonald versus Valley in the district semifinals.
Yeah. Leetonia is the 18 seed. They'll go to Hartville up in Trumbull County to take on Lake Center Christian, the winner of that game, getting the 2 seed, Warren JFK.
I'll take Leetonia in that game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll take Leetonia
on the road. Let's do it.
I think Leetonia wins that game. If Leetonia had a bigger bench, I'd love to see what they could do against JFK, but they don't. So I think JFK goes to the district semifinals.
I agree, and then we'll get down to the bottom.
Jackson Milton is the 11. They'll play host to Western Reserve. These two teams have played each other twice already. Let
me tell you, I didn't even understand this rivalry until I did their game on Friday night. I didn't know that they gave a trophy to the winner of the second game in the season between Jackson Milton and Western Reserve. It's a heated rivalry. They're going to play each other again here in the district.
Sectional
tournament,
opener,
sectional semifinals. Jackson Milton, it was so close. It was such a close game. Jackson Milton won by 4. I'm going to pick Western Reserve in this game to avenge their loss and get that win in the tournaments over Jackson Milton.
The only reason why I'm going with Jackson Milton is because it's going to be a home game for him. Mm-hmm. That's it. If the game were at Berlin Center, I would definitely go with Western Reserve. It's just home court is going to be the difference. I'll take Jackson Milton in that game, and then they will be taking on number 17 Sebring.
All right, so I have Reserve winning that game. You probably have Jackson Milton.
Yeah, I got Jackson Milton winning this game.
And then so, I mean, this is pretty much going to be JFK versus McDonald. We can all kind of, right? I mean, that's what we think this is going to.
Yeah, this is pretty much JFK versus McDonald.
No disrespect to Western Reserve or Jackson Milton. It's just the way this bracket plays out. JFK decided to go into this tournament. And even though they've only played 6 games, they've looked very good. They're definitely given a lot of respect. And I think they're going to be really tough to upset. Because they're going to be fresh. They've only played 6 games, but they're going to be hecka fresh. So
do they have the pieces to consistently beat that McDonald press? That's the only thing that concerns me.
They obviously think they do. Because why would you go into that district?
Yeah, exactly. If they believe their guard play is good enough to consistently get through the McDonald press and get easy buckets, and clearly they believe that. Otherwise, they would have steered the hell clear of McDonald and gone to the other side. It all depends on their guard play. If their guards get the job done, I think JFK has a really good chance at getting this victory.
As chalk as the games up to the district championship will be, that district championship is going to be a really fun one to watch.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's
we might have to pump the brakes a little bit in that tournament to get a really fun game, but that championship game is going to be one of the ones that you're going to be wanting to pay $9.99 to see.
Yeah, and I don't. Again, if Leetonia's bench was deeper, I think that they would give JFK an interesting game, but they don't have a deep bench, unfortunately. Sebring's not the Sebring of a few years ago. Otherwise, that would have been an interesting.
I honestly think the team that can give JFK the best game in that lower bracket is Jackson Milton, but they have to get past the Western Reserve first.
Yeah, and then
but Jackson Milton has Bouch in the middle that can give teams a whole lot of problems because he's 6'5", got to be 230. I mean, he's a big boy.
Yeah,
and he can wreck a game in the post.
Well, Western Reserve's got a pretty nice big kid in Dill as well, so that's going to be a fascinating matchup. And again, the only reason why I got Jackson Milton is because they're going to be playing that game at North Jackson.
Right.
I think this is just the bottom tier is going to be fun, but when it's all said and done, it's the 1 and the 2, and there's your district championship game. I just don't see anybody. Now, Valley Christian might be able to give McDonald a scare.
Because they're definitely athletic enough to break that press.
Yeah.
I worry about their ball handling a little bit. I don't know if they have the ball handles to... Because Miles Culp can just come in and swipe the ball right from you, and he has got such quick hands. So you have to be good ball handlers. You have to be strong with the ball. I feel like it would be a close game. But I also feel like Valley Christian might make some crucial mistakes with ball handling and not taking care of the ball that would cost them it down the stretch.
Yeah, and that press doesn't go away. It's the one thing that McDonald has.
Down. If you get them down, they'll press harder.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes them good.
Yeah, the one thing that McDonald does not do is relent their press. Even if they've given up 10 straight baskets, they're still going to do that press.
Can we just take a minute to talk about how impressive McDonald looks this season, considering the fact that they were shut down for the whole month of December with the rest of Trumbull County? Like, they started the season, and they looked like in that game 1 that they were in midseason form. And that's just a testament to all the kids and the work they put in when they didn't have to, when they were shut down. We really saw who worked and who didn't. And McDonald was one of the programs that every kid you could tell worked their tail off during the shutdown so they could come back and start that first game of the season in mid-season form.
Yeah, the very definition of a program is everyone buying into it and doing what needs to be done to have your program in great shape when the season ultimately starts. And, again, they had a couple of games before the shutdown. It's not like they started the season in January, but when you get shut down for most of December and you're 1 or 2 games into the season.
Wasn't their first game of the year back in December 28th? I don't think the boys played before the shutdown. I think the girls.
You're right. The girls did. The guys did not. You are correct. You are correct. So that's even more impressive.
Right.
The fact that they were able to do that. That's
they hit the ground running.
Yeah, that speaks volumes for the program.
And they've had a couple of really close games that are going to prepare them for the tournament that they've been able to pull out. I mean, they've won at the buzzer against Springfield. They won on a comeback against Waterloo where they were down by 17 in the fourth quarter, which is just incredible. They beat Waterloo again by almost the same score the week after. They got Springfield again this week, which is going to be a test in Springfield. So they're going to be battle tested, and they're going to know how to win games come tournament time.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about Waterloo when we get to the D3 tournament. Right. You talk about a team that's a little bit lower than where they should be. But again, this is where the tournaments are. So, okay, so we get D4 pretty much into wraps. It's going to be interesting to say the least. The fascinating part of it is JFK deciding to go into the McDonald bracket instead of having their own bracket, which very surprising.
Yeah, and what it did is it made that's going to be a really fun district championship if it works out chalk, and then it made the other district very interesting because it opened it up to a lot of teams.
Yeah, it sure did. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We will go to Division 3. Again, same deal as Division 4. Northeast 1 and Northeast 2 will not play each other in the region. We'll break down the Northeast 1 district tournament first and then Northeast 2. And as we get through the high school tournament previews, we'll take a timeout and open up discussion in D3 ball in a little bit. Stick around.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, we've gone through Division 4. Let's go to Division 3 as we open up the District 1 tournament in Division 3, where we find top-seeded Springfield and a bunch of teams that have left to go to the other brackets. We have the 1 seed. We have the 6 seed in Southeast. We have the 5 seed in Pie Valley. And we have the 8 seed in Garrettsville, Garfield. The 2, the 3, the 4, and the 7 are in the Mooney bracket. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And I don't want to sound like, I know everyone knows I'm a South Range grad. I don't want to sound like a homer. But South Range is sneaky as a 9 seed because they play all Division 2 teams or higher in their conference. They play excellent defense. They hold teams down. And it looks like this weekend they might have found some offensive rhythm. I mean, they shot like 65% from the field against a very good Steubenville team and beat them. And then they came back the next day, and beat Heartland Christian, who's the 3 seed up in Division 4. So I get why they're the 9 seed. They definitely don't have a really impressive record, and they definitely struggle scoring. They can definitely struggle scoring, but their defense going to keep them in games, and they could be really sneaky down there as a 9 seed.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting tournament draw. In the District 1 of Division 3. Let's start this out. Camel is actually going to have a home game as the 20 seed. They will welcome in Middlefield Cardinal, the 21 seed. The winner of that game gets the top-seeded Springfield Tigers in Springfield. And again, much like Division 4, the sectional openers will start 2 weeks from Tuesday, the 23rd of February. The sectional title games will be 2 weeks from Friday, February the 26th. It's barring a disaster of epic proportions, Springfield is in the district semifinals.
Yeah, they should get past whoever gets out of that Camel game.
And I think Camel does get past Middlefield Cardinal. Camel's actually starting to play better basketball right now.
Camel can give Springfield a little bit of a scare, maybe close halftime, but I think eventually Springfield's got a lot of depth, and they can go to the bench and outlast Camel.
Yeah, Camel is playing a lot better basketball. They really are. They're playing better basketball. I just I don't think they're on Springfield's level, though. Rootstown will travel to Warren, which really isn't that big of a journey. Rootstown is the 19 seed. Champion is the 15 seed. The winner of this game will take a trip to Ravenna as they play the 6 seed Southeast.
Champion's on a pretty quiet 6 or 7 game winning streak. They've really put it together after starting the season, I believe, 1-5. So they're starting to put it together. They might be a dangerous team to watch out for. If they get a hot streak in the tournament, that's all it's really about. If you can play well at the end of the season, it doesn't matter how you start. So I think Champion wins that game, and that sectional final will be interesting because Southeast is a quality team, but if Champion gets hot, they can come in and surprise the Pirates.
Well, Champion's been playing some really good basketball since league play started,
right.
And again, the gray tier has been fantastic to say the least. I think Champion is more than capable of getting into the district semifinal, but Southeast is, like you said, they're a quality basketball team.
And I wouldn't sleep on Southeast at all because they're coached by Mike Matese, and that's a coaching bloodline right there.
Yep.
I think they're a quality, well-coached team. I wouldn't sleep on Southeast, but I think Champion's the perfect team to cause some chaos in there.
Yeah, Champion they got a good draw. There's no two ways about that. They definitely have a good draw, and they've been playing some reasonably good basketball in the last few weeks. So we'll see what the Golden Flashes do. Crestwood is the 11 seed. They will host Burton Berkshire. The winner of that game will go to Pie Valley in Andover. Pie Valley is the 5 seed. Pie Valley's had a good year this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen Pie Valley yet, but I'm interested to see how they play in this tournament because they're always that team that no one really talks about because they're up by themselves over there in Adwater and they kind of do things under the radar. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what kind of noise they make in this tournament.
Anthony alluded to South Range, and they're playing much, much better basketball. And, with John Cullen, you're always going to get a solid defensive team.
Right.
The problem with South Range is putting the biscuit in the basket.
They haven't been able to score of late, but like I said, this weekend they found some offensive rhythm, especially against Steubenville. So if they score, they're dangerous because they're going to hold teams to 55 or below, most of the time. So if they find an offense, they can be really, really, really lethal.
They will take on Conneaut, who takes an absurdly long trip from Conneaut down to North Lima, into Beaver Township, south of the fairgrounds. South of the fairgrounds. The game that I think has intrigue written all over it and could very well be the best game in this entire district, in this entire tournament field, at least in District 1, is the Garrettsville-Garfield South Range game. Assuming South Range gets past Conneaut, that game might be the most exciting game you have in this entire bracket.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the winner of that game gets into the district championship. That's just my feeling.
Pie Valley would like a conversation with
they
you.
They can call into the hotline. Give them the number.
I tend to agree with what you're saying, though, because Pie Valley is one of those teams that,
Look, I'm not going to no disrespect to Pie Valley, but their schedule is a lot of D4.
Yeah.
And Garrettsville, Garfield, and South Range both have much better schedules. So if either one of them matches up with Pie Valley, I have confidence that both of them would come out on top.
Do we have Springfield going to the district championship game?
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Southeast will give them a problem.
I have them playing champion. Even though I love Southeast, I think they're well coached. I think Champions is playing really well right now, and I don't see that stopping. So
okay.
As of now, there's still 2 weeks of the regular season, so Champion could stub their toe or something. But as of now, I think Champion beats Southeast and goes to the district semis.
Champion has what it takes to do that. I just don't know if they're good enough to beat Springfield.
No, I think Springfield wins that semifinal game.
And honestly, I kind of agree with the whoever wins the South Range Garrettsville-Garfield game, assuming South Range gets past Conneaut, whoever wins that South Range Garrettsville-Garfield game has a really good shot at going to the district championship game. But I still think Springfield's going to be the team to beat, even though South Range did beat them earlier in the season.
And they beat them bad. They completely shut down the Springfield offense. And they won like 55 to 40 or somewhere around the 15 to 10 point range. So it would be an interesting rematch if that's how it went down into the district championship game where two rivals just don't like each other at all, end up playing each other for a championship.
When was that game played in terms of how soon after football season? Because remember, Springfield went to the state championship game in football.
It had to be in December because Springfield was already like 7-0 or 8-0. I mean,
okay.
So they were well undefeated. So I want to say maybe like the second week of December.
Okay.
Somewhere around there,
yeah.
Third week of December.
Yeah, because everyone has to remember that unlike in previous years, Thanksgiving weekend was the last weekend of high school football.
Right.
So there was plenty of time to get everyone. Actually, the week before Thanksgiving was the last weekend of football. That's when state championship games were held. All right, let's go to the other bracket, which is I think this bracket's going to be so much fun. You have right from the get-go, Tuesday night, February the 23rd, Mineral Ridge will be hosting Columbiana. Columbiana is the 23 seed. Mineral Ridge is the 17 seed. The winner of that game will head to the south side of Youngstown to take on number 2 Cardinal Mooney.
I think Mineral Ridge is a team that has the pieces. They just don't kind of put them together. I watched them on Saturday. They have really good players. They're just struggling kind of putting it together and making the picture, fit in the frame a little bit. I mean, I think Tristan Weiss is a phenomenal kind of forward/guard. He can handle on the perimeter, he can drive, and he can post up. I think Austin Governor's a great scorer. He got us 1,000th point on Friday. I think Silac is just a great kind of two-guard, and they can shoot really well. But they just haven't – there's something that's not right there. They're not putting it together. So with those teams, they're dangerous in the tournament because, if they do put it together somehow, if they find the secret combination or the secret formula, they could be dangerous. But I think they win the first game at least and get a tournament win.
Columbiana's playing better.
They are.
I don't know if they can beat Mineral Ridge up at Mineral Ridge, but they're definitely playing better. And no disrespect to Mineral Ridge or Columbiana, neither team is they'll be a heavy underdog against Cardinal Mooney.
What makes this bracket interesting is Mooney shut down for 20 days, and they haven't looked quite the same yet. Now they have 2 weeks to try to right the ship, but they haven't looked like the Mooney we saw to start the season.
Well, they got Michael Pelini back, and they did get a victory over the weekend, which...
And we'll see how that kind of goes throughout the next week. But it didn't look exactly the same. So we'll have to wait and see how Mooney finishes regular season, and then it's all about earning that 2 seed on the court in the tournament.
Yeah. The team that I think really got a good draw out of this were the Crestview Rebels. And now they have to make sure that they don't get full of themselves because United has improved significantly from the beginning of the year to now.
But so has Crestview.
They're up and down.
I think that stretch that Crestview had when Jack Yerke was hurt was phenomenal because they stepped up and they really rebounded as a team. I think Kirkland Miller found a little bit of confidence in that stretch, and he's starting to play really well.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the more dangerous players in that whole conference. So I think the Rebels are a very dangerous team.
If the Rebels' second quarter on Friday night show up, they can pretty much hang with anybody in this tournament.
Rick Gates made a great adjustment. I watched that game.
God.
He turned on the press.
Yeah.
And Newton Falls had no answer.
They found themselves down 26-8 after the first quarter. Newton Falls scored the bucket early in the second quarter, and then Crestview was down 20. They scored, and then you saw Crestview go into a half-court trap where they let Newton Falls, once they crossed the line, boom, 2 guys were on the ball handler, and they rattled. Newton Falls something awful. I think Newton Falls scored 19 points the rest of the game with that half-court trap in play.
You watched Crestview all season. That's not something they put on film that much. That little half-court press defense. So that must be something they installed for Newton Falls. But they haven't really put that on film.
This is one of these teams that when they're on their A game, they can play with and beat anybody in this tournament.
I think
this upper tier tournament.
I think one of the reasons why they're real dangerous is because they rebound well, and rebounding becomes uber important in the tournament. And the little things, they do most of the little things right. They don't make a lot of fundamental little mental mistakes. So I think that comes from being well coached, and I think being well coached and doing the fundamental things right usually ends up in the right way for tournament time.
Now this is an interesting matchup against United, and you certainly don't want to sleep on anybody. United played Crestview in Crestview earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. United lost to Crestview. The Rebels had their way with them. But like I said, United has a very much improved team. We'll see what happens. The winner of this game has to go to Leavittsburg to take on LeBray. Crestview and LeBray have an interesting rivalry going on. These two teams played each other twice already. Crestview went up to LeBray, beat them by 8 points. LeBray came back to Crestview and dominated the game for most of the game. Crestview took a lead late in the game, and then LeBray found a way to get the victory by a few points. Seeing these two teams, the potential of these two teams playing each other a third game is going to be fun.
It will be, and I think right now, LeBray shut down, right? I mean, their basketball team.
I believe they are. Yeah.
So it's a bad time to have a shutdown.
It is a bad time.
And then have a team in the tournament that's playing you for a third time. I mean, at least there's familiarity, but That's going to be a tough game for LeBray. I think Crestview might have the more confidence because they beat them by 8 at LeBray. And LeBray dominated, like you said, a lot of the game, but Crestview came back, and it ended up being really close. So I think Crestview has a little bit more confidence going into that game, and it'll be tough for LeBray to keep the Rebels at bay.
I want to, as weird as this sounds, I want to see what the Rebels do Tuesday night. Tomorrow night, they go to Liberty. They were slapped around by Liberty, and Liberty blocked every shot practically.
Well, that's because,
the big kid had 12 blocks in that game. It was ridiculous how good he was. They go to Liberty tomorrow night. I want to see what Crestview does after that incredible victory over Newton Falls. Does this jumpstart them into where they play great basketball the rest of the year? Because if that's the case, then I think Crestview has a legitimate chance to win a district, even though Mooney's, would be their potential district semifinal. Assuming they get past United and LeBray, they'd have to play Mooney. We'll see. I want to see how they respond on Tuesday night. If they come out flat, then I'm kind of wondering, all right, does this team go back to its old ways and look like the team that went to Berlin Center and got destroyed by Western Reserve? So I'll be curious to see what happens.
By the way, Newton Falls had a really rough week.
Yeah, they did.
Because they got smacked by Mineral Ridge on Tuesday, and then obviously what happened to them on Friday after jumping out to a really big lead.
Yet another reason why I think Mineral Ridge has it in them to not only beat Columbiana, but give Cardinal Mooney all kinds of problems. Although I still think Mooney wins that.
The pieces are there. They just haven't put it together. So
yeah.
If they do, they're dangerous. If they don't, then Mooney will kind of wash them away.
All right, bottom half of this bracket, number 13, Jefferson, will be moving on out to Orwell to take on number 12, Grand Valley. I like Jefferson.
Versus 12. There we go.
I like Jefferson in this game because they play in the better conference.
Right. Well, I don't know anything about Orwell Valley's conference, so I can't speak on who has a better schedule. But I do know Jefferson has a really tough one. They play Poland twice. They play Struthers twice. They play South Range twice.
And I'm sure that's going to prepare them.
They are battle tested, to say the least.
The winner of that game gets Waterloo, who is the number 7 seed, and Waterloo is
Waterloo's a hard team to figure out because there are games when they look great and there are games when they look not great. They've looked great in their 2 McDonald games, which is by far the best team in Division 4. They get given the 1 seed, but then when they play Springfield, they get blown out of the gym, and it's just like which Waterloo team is going to show up because they have some game records that can really torch people. In tournament games like Kyle Shockley, but then on the other hand, it's like, well, they've been very inconsistent, so you just don't know what Waterloo team's going to show up.
And I look at Jefferson; they've played a lot of really good teams.
So is Waterloo.
Yeah, but
it's a different kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Jefferson's played Poland. Jefferson's played Struthers. Jefferson has played, some pretty. Waterloo's played McDonald.
Twice.
Waterloo's played Springfield. Twice. Yeah, it's it'll be fun.
That'll be an interesting game if that's how it shakes up.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And then the bottom part, Palestine is the 24 seed. They'll go to Newton Falls, and the winner of that game gets Liberty. And if Newton Falls happens to win, now you'll see Liberty for the 3rd time.
And Liberty's a team that I also think is pretty sneaky in this bracket because they're really young.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why they've lost some games they shouldn't, and they're the 14 seed. But they're also very talented, and they're very big. So they can give teams some problems if they... young teams in the tournament can be scary because sometimes they don't know what they don't know, and the stage doesn't get too big for them.
No, that's true. They're not as big as Newton Falls. I've seen both of them play. The kid from the center from Liberty plays big because he's got long arms and he jumps through the gym. But Newton Falls legitimately has 6'5", 6'4", 6'4", 6'3". They're big boys.
But Liberty's kids are built.
Yes.
That's the thing. I mean, their post isn't tall in the grand scheme of Newton Falls.
But he plays tall.
But he's big, and he's got long shoulders, and he's got the long wingspan. That's why he gets 10 blocks, every now and then. So
yeah. He plays like someone who's 6'8".
And what I was impressed, because I saw them against Poland, he is phenomenally good at blocking technique and not drawing fouls.
He goes straight up.
He doesn't swat at the ball.
Yep.
He jumps up and he times them well. So he doesn't get called for fouls a lot as a shot blocker, which is something you don't see a lot in high school. So he can wreck a game inside, and that'll be. I don't know how do you know how the games between Newton Falls and Liberty shook up this season?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure.
So that'll be interesting because it'll be a third time they play each other.
Yeah, it's this is going to be entertaining to say the least. You can make a case for Waterloo going into a district championship. You can certainly make the case for Newton Falls going to the district championship. Right. You can make a case for Liberty.
Let's break down our picks then. Let's just get to it, right?
All right.
So I think Middle Ridge beats Columbia in the first round. They go to Mooney.
Yes.
Let's see. The next one, I think Crestview beats United and goes to LeBray.
Yep.
I'm going with Jefferson to beat Orwell and go to Waterloo.
Yep.
And I'm picking Newton Falls to beat East Palestine and go to Liberty.
I'll agree with all of that.
All right. So now we have Mooney versus
Mineral Ridge.
They win, go to the district semifinal.
All right. So you got Mooney?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Crestview beats LeBray and goes to the district semifinal.
I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening. I'll buy that.
I think. See, this one's hard because it's all about what Waterloo team shows up. I'm going to go with the team who I think has the better roster. I say Waterloo beats Jefferson, goes to the district.
I'm going to go Jefferson. I for whatever reason, I'm going to go with Jefferson on this one.
And let's see, Liberty versus Newton Falls. The way that Newton Falls is playing right now, and this could change in 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
But we're basing this on what we're seeing right now. I say Liberty wins that game and goes to the district.
I'm going to go Newton Falls. I think that Newton Falls can still play some solid basketball, but if anyone saw the game, the half-court trap, that might be a nice little blueprint for some teams to use.
So I have Waterloo versus Liberty and then Crestview versus Mooney.
Yep.
I'm going to say Mooney goes to the district championship. They're healthy now, and I think they're going to start to look like the Mooney we saw earlier this season. And I think Waterloo meets them in the district championship game.
I'm going to go with Mooney. I kind of hate saying that, but I just, it's Mooney's healthy, and Mooney's played a much tougher schedule. I'll take Cardinal Mooney, and I'm going to go Newton Falls. I'm going to go Newton Falls on this one, and then we'll see Cardinal Mooney take on Newton Falls, and I'm going to go Cardinal Mooney.
I'm going to say if Waterloo gets to that point and that they look consistent enough that I think Kyle Shockley is a game wrecker, and I think he can upset Mooney with like maybe a 37, 35-point game because Kyle Shockley's the kind of kid that can do that.
All right.
And if Waterloo gets to that point, I'm going to say Waterloo gets consistent, and if they get there, I think they can beat Mooney.
Okay.
Because if they get there, that means they've proven they've consistently gotten there. So.
All right.
So I'm going to say Waterloo upsets Mooney and wins the district championship.
Okay.
They had a great district tournament last year. They're very they won the district, I think, in Salem last year.
Yes.
So they're very experienced and they know how to win district tournaments. I'm going to say they upset Mooney.
All right. So you got a Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference Scarlet D3 alert with Waterloo and Springfield.
Right.
And I'm going to go chalk. I hate doing that, but I got the Tigers in D1 or in District 1, and I'll go Mooney in District 2.
And of course, they don't play each other in the regional semifinals,
yes,
so they're matched up with other regions.
Yeah. Northeast 1 is matched up with Northeast 3. Northeast 3, the big seed is Creston Norwayne at number 2.
Seed, though, isn't the 1 seed.
Yeah, they're the 2. They are the 2 seed in that. Cardinal Mooney or whoever gets out of Northeast 2 will play Northeast 4. Lutheran East is, and they're the best team in the region.
Absolutely.
As far as I'm concerned, Cleveland Heights Lutheran East High School is the best team in that region. And we'll see. I mean, but
I think whoever wins the Northeast 1, though, has a legitimate shot to win the regional semifinal.
I do think that. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if it's Springfield.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Although I would also keep an eye on Worcester Triway, the 4 seed in the Lutheran East district. Worcester Triway is a pretty good basketball team, or at least historically they are. But Lutheran East, my goodness,
they've been playing well.
They're impressive to say the least.
They were the 1 seed by a mile in that district.
Yeah,
I mean, I think everyone voted for them. So
they're pretty solid. We're going to take a timeout. 2 districts down. Dana Balish from TV 21 will join us, and then we'll go into what I think is the deepest division. As far as locally, it's the deepest division.
And it's worked out that way in girls basketball, too. It's going to be a fun district, Division 2.
Yeah, Division 2 is going to be all kinds of fun. But we will get to Dana Balish first before we do anything. Take a time out, be back with more. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Youngstown, or in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Points presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is, well, it's not open yet. As we get through the high school tournaments, and it's not open right now because joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, we bring in 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Dana, how are you today, sir? Dana, are you there? Uh-oh. Well, that kind of didn't work. All right, let's take a brief timeout, and we'll rehook up with 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. I hate when that happens.
Welcome to live TV. Well, live streaming.
Yeah, live streaming. I hate when that happens. All right, we'll take a timeout and rehook up with Dana. Stick around, more to come.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
All right, welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point, and joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Dana, how are you today, sir?
Doing well, Ron. Yourself?
Doing well, sir. As we speak, Youngstown State men are in action. They decided they wanted to play another game outside of league play, which you're allowed to do. The Penguins are playing an NAIA team out of Rochester.
I got it up right now. They're about to tip as we speak. The tip is up, and it looks like Rochester controls the tip. So,
all right, there you go.
Got some play-by-play in me.
All right, so Dana, Darius Quisenberry comes back just in the nick of time. They get 2 overtime victories over Robert Morris. Certainly something to build on as the Penguins try to slowly get back into at least into the upper tier of the standings.
Well, Ron, I think this is twofold. I think this is a Darius Quisenberry return game only. And what I mean by that is, look, is he in basketball shape? I'm not sure, and I don't think anybody really knows. But I think for the stretch run, let's get Darius Quisenberry back up to game form. Let's play a non-league game at home where we can get some fans in attendance, which fans are allowed to go today, a limited number of fans. I think this is to get Darius Quisenberry back into kind of a basketball mode and to get some of the younger players in, because when tournament time comes, those younger players are going to have to step into some big roles. I think that's exactly what this is all about.
Well, certainly, you're 20 games into the season. They have played a handful of non-conference tournaments. One Division I team, I think Binghamton, and then the rest of the non-conference games have been against NAIA opponents. But it certainly makes sense if you're using this game as an opportunity to give Darius some more time to get himself in game shape as we play the final 4 conference games. All 4 of those games will be played at Beagley.
Well, and again, they got IPFW, and again, Ron, you play 2 overtime games against Robert Morris, and again, you didn't know they were going to go to overtimes. You were off yesterday. You would think you would want some rest. I truly believe this is to get Darius Quisenberry back into game mode. And again, some of the younger guys, an opportunity to step up and play.
Speak of the devil, he just hit a reverse layup through contact and completed the 3-point play. So Quisenberry looks like he might be back a little bit. I mean, it's good to see him back on the court.
And again, I think when you're one of your better players, is missing, you want to get back into that continuity of him on the floor and playing with him. So I think this is and again, I don't want to say it's a glorified scrimmage, but what else are you going to say? It's against an NAIA team. Come on.
And so to shift focus a little bit, because we have brackets out for the boys' local teams, when you look at the brackets and you look at the seedings, what kind of things jump out at you, and what kind of matchups jump out at you, and what's your take on the brackets that we see?
Well, I think the first thing that jumps out is Division II, where you have Struthers and Poland and Cheney as the top 3 seeds. I mean, I think on paper Cheney is the most talented team. I know they've been slowed down by COVID a little bit, but I think if they played a full complement of games, Cheney probably would have been your top seed. Nothing against Struthers. Struthers has had a great season. They're undefeated. But I think when it's all said and done, I really like Cheney in Division II. I think, last year after not being able to play, they returned, I think, 3 of the 5 starters, and they had some quality bench players last year. So I certainly think Cheney will be reckoned with in Division II. I think, I think that tournament will come down to Cheney, and I would be shocked if Cheney's not in the district championship game. And again, is that a guarantee? No, because, again, they've only played, I think, 10 games or 9 games or something like that. So they kind of got to get into, that basketball mode. But when you play and then you don't play, or you don't play because some teams can't play, I mean, you got to get into that mode. And again, going back to YSU, I kind of think that's what they're doing here to benefit Quisenberry.
How surprised are you to see Ursuline as the 5 seed in Division II? I mean, you know your tournament is deep when a really good Ursuline team is the 5 seed.
Well, and again, Ron, I think, first of all, I think if when those votes had to be in by Saturday. Excuse me, and I know some teams have played a little bit more than that, or that night and whatever. But I don't. I mean, how seeding is important. I don't know if it's that important. I mean, when you got that target on your back. Ursuline's kind of been an up and down team a little bit. I mean, Pankey has really come on the last couple of weeks again. It's just so hard to tell. And again, I think coaches voting is the best thing because they know about the opposing teams. They know the players on those teams, and I think that's the best way to do it. Am I surprised Ursuline's a 5? No. I think this is the toughest year to decide who's who, just because of the number of games and who they played and things like that. And again, the way the seeding is done or the voting is done. Okay, how many D1 schools, D2, D3, and that sort of thing. So, no, I'm not surprised, Ron. I think this is the seeding that is maybe this was the year not to have seeding and just throw darts, I guess, because that's what it seems like.
What's your take on Mooney in Division III? Because we were talking about them. They're very interesting. They're the 2 seed, and a lot of teams avoided Springfield to go to their district. And Mooney was a victim of a long shutdown. They didn't really look the same coming off, but now they're starting to get healthy. And this weekend it looked like they might be starting to find a rhythm back to where they were before the shutdown. So what's your take on Mooney in Division III as a 2 seed?
Well, Pelini's been out, and again, when one of your better players doesn't play because of an injury, that will have an impact on wins and losses, and then ultimately, the tournament. Mooney being a 2 seed, again, I think it's one of those situations where, okay, it is what it is, kind of in Division III with Mooney. I mean that region, that district is probably the district that will get a lot of, LeBray's in that district. One of those teams that was really good last year in Waterloo, I think, is in that district. Newton Falls, I think, fell there as well. So, it's Mooney's, and I can't remember who they're going to play. I think they got a first-round bye, if I looked at it correctly. But look, I remember Mooney was a top seed, 2-3 years ago, and got upset by someone on their home court. So, you got to be healthy, you got to be in game mode, and try to play your best.
To me, Division IV, the most interesting part of the D4 tournament was the 2 seed Warren JFK going into number 1 McDonald's territory instead of having their own district draw. I thought that was a really interesting idea by JFK to sit back and say, well, we're going to go right after McDonald as the 2 seed.
Well, and again, Ron, this is a McDonald team that this is a JFK team that has played all their games on the road. They have not played any home games this year because of a gym issue with the floor. So every one of their games has been on the road. So you know what? You're a 2 seed, and again, I know it's record, and you played all those games on the road. So they probably said, hey, sooner or later we're going to have to face them. If we have to go to their place and face them, we'll do that. I mean, and you kind of gotta like that attitude. But here's a team that has played, and I don't know how many games they've played, maybe 15, 16. All of those have been on the road. So you might as well, take that momentum while you have it. I mean, they're going to, now they're 2 seed. They will get a home game, but because of their floor, I don't know where they would play that. They probably would play that, at the opponent's site, to be quite honest with you, or maybe at Harding. So, if they play it at Harding, it's still not their home floor, but it's not that far. So, and they will play it at Harding, from what I was told, what I heard. So, I have no problem with that. I think, and again, they wouldn't face off until the district semis.
So, I mean, it sounds like that floor issue won't be fixed in time for that tournament game to be a home game. Is that something that is for sure? Or do you think that it's just up in the air whether or not they'll be able to play in that gym for tournament?
Well, I think they'll go to Harding if they can't play at JFK. I think they'll go to Warren Harding to play. I mean, I don't know if you want to go down and play on your opponent's home court, so to speak. So I would think they'll try to go to Harding and then see what happens after that. But again, I mean, the way the tournament's set up, I hope they kind of continue it this way, to be honest with you. I think these 2 districts, which really is 4 districts, only, but I think it's really, really good. I like it. You get some teams from inside the area, some teams outside the area. They want to keep the 1 and the 2 seeds somewhat separately, so on opposite sides of the bracket, which is something they want to do. And again, I think if the rules stay, they want to keep 1, 2, and then I don't think it matters where 3, 4 go, but I may be mistaken on that.
Well, Danny, the other thing is you don't get an opportunity, or I should say you save the opportunity of renting out a building in the district semifinals and district championship game to where you sit back and say, okay, now all we need to do is rent out a building for the regional tournament and the state tournament, and that's all the OHSAA needs to do to rent things out.
And a reminder that Warren Harding is the 32 seed in the Division I bracket, so
yeah,
they won't be having
a home game anytime
unless
soon.
There's a miraculous upset in the first round where the 35 seed beats the 5.
Well, and again, Ron, I think this formula that they had for football and this formula that they have for basketball, by playing all the games at home sites until really the state semifinals, and basketball will be the regionals. I think it's a great idea. I really, really do. Back in the day, I remember going to the Struthers Fieldhouse. You'd see 3 tournament games for the price of 1. You'd go to the Boardman, or you'd go to Harding or Howland or Hubbard at the time and see 2 games for the price of 1. And again, I think the word they're doing it now. Look, if you're the top seed, then you should be at home as long as you could be at home. It worked well in football. I think it will work well in basketball, and I hope this formula stays. I really, really do when things get back to normal, because I think it's good. I think if you're, a team that's really, really good and you have a 1 seed, you should be able to play that game at home. I think it's a really, really, really good idea. I'd like to see college football kind of do that, but, these neutral site games, and again, I mean, you look at the Big Ten, okay? Big Ten plays their championship game in Indianapolis. Play the game at the home site for the team that deserves it. Now, I know you got 2 divisions, so it's probably the best thing to do, but, when it comes to seeds, I really like this format that the OHSA is using.
You bringing up football, it's weird to say this, but YSU's football season starts a week from Saturday.
Well, actually, Ron, it begins a week from Sunday.
Yeah, a week from Sunday, my bad.
On the 21st, it's the only Sunday game, and to be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I don't think they've ever played a Sunday game, to be honest with you. And I'm trying to think when they had some weather delays, but I don't think they've ever played a Sunday game, and I'll have to check that. But, they go to North Dakota State. I mean, Coach Phillips, there's a lot of questions with this team. They were a very young football team. Joe Craycraft is getting, the majority of snaps, with the number 1 team. Then you have Mitch Davidson and Mark Wade, in that number, 2 spot working with the second team. Braxton Chapman has gone into the transfer portal as a junior, as a graduate player, graduate transfer. I think that's going to hurt them a little bit in the running game. So I think this team, and again, you have to use this to your advantage. I mean, you're going to play 8 games. You're going to get that taste of playing in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I just hope it helps them in the fall. And that sort of thing. But I think this team will struggle. I think certainly there's a lot of questions surrounding this team. And, the only way you're going to get better is by playing someone other than yourself. And I use this to your advantage. Coach Phillips and his staff will use this to their advantage. Certainly you want to win as many games as possible. But you don't want that first game. And, again, you're going up against a very good North Dakota State team. Look, if you win it, you want it to carry over. If you lose it, you don't want it to carry over. And, and I think in Coach Phillips' situation, we use the adage all the time in the fall, you make your biggest improvements between weeks 1 and 2. I don't know if that's the case with Youngstown State. I think Coach Phillips would be happy if they to make their biggest improvements, after week 1 to weeks 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then see how far it takes you. But I think, I think this is a team that we really don't know much about. We know they're very young. They have some experience at some positions. They got to replace 3 guys on the offensive line. They got some work in the secondary to do at the linebacking position. But, we'll see what happens. Again, I think, the only time we're really going to get a real dose to see, where they are is on that Sunday.
Dana, always a pleasure, sir.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. 21 Sports Director Dana Ballish joining me and Anthony on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline.
And I agree with him. I kind of like this setup where you're going to be able to host a district. I know we like the old days where the districts are in this atmosphere of the Struthers Field House, and we've talked to coaches that would much rather play in the Struthers Field House in that atmosphere. But at the same time, I kind of like the rewarding of the teams to get the 1 seed, that you get to host a district championship now, and you get to be a part of that. You get to cut down your own nets if you win a district championship, not somebody else's. I think I kind of like that kind of formula a little bit.
It's also saving the OHSAA a lot of money.
Hey, look at that.
I mean, let's be honest. You're not going to be renting out a place in the district tournament. Now all you need to do is rent out the Canton Civic Center for D2, the Canton Fieldhouse for D3 and 4, and the Convocation Center for D1 up in Cleveland.
But
those are the only 3 places.
It's about the kids, not the
Of
money.
course it is. And
on.
And I agree with what you just said. If you're a top seed and you get the district championship, you get an opportunity to cut the nets down in your own building.
Right.
Now, let's say you get beat.
No,
now the opposition gets to cut your nets down. That's kind of an interesting... that's kind of an interesting blowback.
I never thought about that, but that's like, especially if you're like say in South Range and Springfield are playing each other and it's a big rivalry.
Yeah.
What a message in the locker room for Coach Cullen to be like, hey, if we beat these guys,
you get to cut the nets down.
We cut their nets down.
Yeah.
And we get to celebrate on their floor a district championship.
It's kind of the... It's kind of like the equivalent of drinking champagne in the visiting locker room.
Not in high school.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you're not going to do it in high school, obviously.
Whoa.
So it would kind of be like Steph Curry sitting back with the old quote, "Oh, I went back to the Cleveland locker room. Yeah, it still smells like champagne after we celebrated on the floor." A little knife jabbing, where the next year you can sit back and go, "Yeah, these nets look good. Not as good as the nets we cut down from your floor last year when we kicked your ass."
Right.
But it's an interesting little thing that you can do if you happen to be the team that's on the good end of an upset and in front of home people cut down their nets in their gym. That's interesting.
Another motivation for the home team, though. I mean, you protect your nets. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean? That might be the hashtag of some of these teams. Protect our nets, and it almost rhymes.
Yeah.
So it's close. So
Protect the net.
It's catchy. I like it. I like it.
All right, we'll take a
roll with it.
timeout, and we will go Division II, which, man, is this
We
a deep
previewed it a
tournament.
little bit with Dana, but now we're going to dive into it, and it's fun.
It's a deep tournament. Yeah, it really is. We'll take a timeout and do Division II coming up after this. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the Wick Farms. It just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. 330-886-0813. We're not taking phone calls because we want to get through the tournament previews. And, you know, because we kind of want to get on a roll here and keep doing this.
If you want to call and talk about the tournaments, we'll gladly talk about tournaments with you, but we just don't want calls to come in and talk about my loss.
Well, you know,
or
not that you
other stuff that's not local, whatever it may be. But if you want to call and talk about basketball tournaments, the phone line is absolutely open.
Yeah, this is we kind of want to get through the tournament since we're on the subject right now.
We haven't even talked. Well, after our tournament, we'll talk about the games this weekend because we had some good basketball.
Yeah, Division II, the District 1 tournament. Struthers is the top seed.
Duh.
They will host Niles, and should they beat Niles, they would then host number 24 Geneva. Much like any other tournament, the one seed is pretty much a walking into the district semifinals, barring a major upset.
Yeah, and they open with a conference matchup against Niles, a team they're very familiar with. There are not going to be any surprises. And that should be, a get in, get out kind of game.
Well, I mean, and if you're Niles, do you try to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Struthers?
Absolutely, you do. You have nothing to lose if you're Niles. I mean, you just go and you let the chips fall where they may. All
right, the other bracket below is Streetsboro, the 11 seed, will host Youngstown East, the 16 seed. This is an interesting matchup. in that Youngstown East is starting to get better, and this could be a tough game for Streetsboro.
Yeah, and we talked about it before with other teams. East plays a really tough schedule. They had Mooney beat. I mean, they had Ursuline beat. They should have won that game. They missed some free throws, and then Ursuline hit a buzzer beater 3 in the corner. But they should have had Ursuline beat. It was right there. They came all the way back. They're a good team, and they're going to give Streetsboro all they can handle. I think they win that game.
The other one is Mogadore Field. The 21 seed will be going to Canton to take on Canton South.
You do not want to go to Canton for that. I mean, Canton South is such a tough team, and they play in that gritty, physical EBC. I would not. That's a bad tournament draw.
And
I would not want to go to Canton for.
But now here's the thing: do you call the game tight? Because if you call the game tight, Mogadore Field has a really good chance to pull off an upset here.
Well, it's home, so they'll get the referees that are always going to Canton South and know what kind of type of basketball they play, and I think they'll be favorable.
See, I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be the protocol come tournament time. I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see, much like in the OHSAA during football, you'll see completely different referees assigned to the game.
We've never seen that in districts before. Like, we've seen the regional referees be.
Well, we've also never seen a district where the home team is going to have it all the way through the district championship.
Especially in sectionals. Like in sectionals, we've been hosting for a while, and it's usually been the regional referees that would go to that gym most of the time in the season anyway. So I feel like, especially in the sectionals, you'll probably see the referees that are familiar with Canton South. I'm not saying they're going to favorably call it because it's Canton South. I'm just saying they're the referees that have been there before, and they know how Canton South plays, and they'll call accordingly. So, I don't know. I think Canton South is hands down just a better team.
The intriguing matchup could be Canton South and Youngstown East.
Yeah.
Because both teams play similar. And then you depending on how you call the game, will greatly deal with one team or another. The bottom
intriguing matchup if it happens in the district semis. Ursuline versus Perry.
Well, that would be the championship. Well, no, you're right. It would be the semis.
Bottom of the bracket.
Yeah, Ursuline has the bye. They'll play the winner of Ravenna and Canfield, and that's miserable for Canfield.
Right.
But it's not that Canfield can't beat Ursuline. Canfield's starting to play much better basketball. It's just I'll be curious to see what happens there. Perry is the 4 seed. They get a bye. They'll play the winner of Chagrin Falls and Chardon. I know absolutely nothing about those two programs. But you're right. The district semifinals could very well be Ursuline against Perry.
And it's 12 versus 14, so it's not even like one seed is abundantly better than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Coin flip.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you want to go through and pick this one?
All right, so we'll go to we'll go back up top. Struthers and Niles.
They get all. I'm just going to put them right in the district semifinals.
Okay, put them in the district semifinals. Streetsboro and Youngstown East.
I'm picking East.
All right, Mogadore Field and Canton South.
I'm picking Canton South.
All right, Canton South and Youngstown East in the sectional title.
I'm picking Canton South again.
All right. Canfield and Ravenna.
Go Cardinals. Canfield, they've had I think a better season than a lot of people thought they would.
Yeah.
I think they've really outdone expectations, and I think they win that game on. It's not even on the road, is it? It's
at home, and then they would stay in Youngstown or at least in the Mahoning Valley and play Ursuline down on Wick Avenue.
Right. So Canfield wins that game.
All right, and then Canfield Ursuline.
Ursuline wins that game.
Okay. Chagrin Falls and Chardon.
I'm going to say, I'll just go with the high seed and say Chagrin Falls.
Okay, and then the winner gets Perry.
Perry wins that game handily.
Okay, so you got Perry and Ursuline and Canton South and Struthers. I agree with it wholeheartedly.
Struthers beats Canton South and Ursuline beats Perry.
I will preface my Canton South Struthers pick with.
Although I don't know if that Perry Ursuline pick. That's tough.
Yeah. I'll preface my Canton South Struthers pick with what I will say anytime Canton South, West Branch, and Salem are all playing. If the officials do not call ticky-tack fouls, Canton South has a very good chance to play with Struthers.
They have a chance, but Struthers is just loaded.
I
It's
get
hard
that.
to play with that team.
I get that. But if they allow them to play the EBC type of physical game, Canton South has a shot. Not a great shot, but they have a shot. They have a much better chance at winning the game if the officials allow them to play an EBC type of game against Struthers. I'll go Struthers, and I'll go Ursuline over Perry.
And Struthers wins this district. I just think they're too good, they're too talented, and there's too much returning talent on that team.
If there is a coach that can win that game, it's Keith Gunther.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Ursuline won. They play a really tough schedule, and they're going to be battle-tested.
Yep.
But I just think Struthers has the better roster.
I think Struthers is deeper. I do think Struthers is deeper. But like I said, if there is a coach that can win that, I would say wholeheartedly Keith Gunther is that guy. But I'll take Struthers in that. All right, let's go to the other bracket. This is going to be fun. Howland is going to go to Lakeview to take on the Bulldogs. The winner of that game gets number 2 Poland. What do you got?
Oh, we're picking. I thought we were just going to break.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Notre Dame Cathedral Latin is the 18 seed. They'll go to Louisville, one of the YSN schools. Girard is the 19 seed. They'll go to Salem. West Branch will be hosting Hubbard. West Geauga will go into Youngstown on the west side of town to take on Cheney. West Geauga is the 26th seed. Clearly, they've had a down year. All of these games will play 2 weeks from Tuesday, the 23rd of February. The sectional title games 2 weeks from Friday. Poland plays the winner of Howland and Lakeview. The winner of Notre Dame Cathedral Latin and Louisville plays the winner of Girard and Salem. Marlington got a bye. They get the winner of West Branch and Hubbard. Marlington is the 15 seed. Ashtabula Edgewood is the 22 seed. They get the winner of Cheney and West Geauga.
Yeah, and I think one of the most interesting first round matchup to me is Howland versus Lakeview.
Okay.
Because Lakeview's a team that's been really up and down. They've got some pretty good wins on their schedule, and then Howland is just a big team. They're big. They've got a lot of size, and they play the Canfields, the Boardmans, Warren Hardings. They play a tough schedule. I think that's an interesting game. I also think NDCL at Louisville will be a fun one in the sectionals too.
Yeah, Howland and Lakeview is going to be a toss-up. This will be a fun game. Whoever wins the game will take on number 2 Poland. I'll go with a home team, even though I think Howland has a really good chance of beating Lakeview. But it doesn't really matter. I think Poland is going to go to the district semifinals.
Poland, that'll be their first home game in a while because they lost all their home games in the rest of the regular season with a shutdown. So we're gonna have to see how Poland comes back from the shutdown they're in right now. But as it stands, Poland should win that game against Lakeview, who I think will beat Howland. So I have Poland in the district semis.
All right. Notre Dame Cathedral Latin is the 18 seed. They travel to Louisville, the 9 seed.
Both these teams play an unbelievable schedule. Normally, I wouldn't sleep on Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, but I think the gap is a little bit too much. I'm going to take Louisville to win that game.
I'm with you on that one. Salem will be hosting Girard.
Salem in a landslide.
Girard is a young team.
They're in a shutdown right now, too, by the way.
Yeah, that's the shutdown is going to hurt them in a big way. Salem and Louisville, if they play each other, this is kind of an old reunion type of a rivalry from the Eastern Buckeye Conference days. West Branch is the 6th seed. They will host number 20 Hubbard.
I think West Branch wins that game, but I think it's going to be closer than the seeds predict because Hubbard's starting to put things together.
Yeah, they sure are. But with this West Branch team, very good defensively. Much like South Range, they don't score a lot of points. No. That might be the Achilles heel with that team. But boy, they can play some solid defense. If they win that game, they get a familiar foe in Marlington. Again, a team that's in the EBC, and it'll be a typical EBC game. Then you have West Geauga, the 26th seed, playing number 3, Cheney. Cheney got number 3 based on the past, which kind of bothers me because you should never put anybody in a high seed based on a past because the past has nothing to do with the present. Having said that,
well, it's not like they put Cheney in there because of what they did like 5 years ago. They put him in there because of what they did last year.
And with kids that are graduated.
And they return a lot of their starters from last year.
I get that. You're basing it on potential, which I can understand. But don't put this on last year, because last year's team isn't this year's team.
And they went and they only lost by 2 to Massillon Jackson in the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
No, I get that.
So I think they earned that 3 seed.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a very good team. And I think that they'll get past West Geauga, and I think they'll get past Edgewood, and I think they'll get into the district semifinals where the road gets a little choppier. Mm-hmm. West Branch, I think they get past Hubbard. I do think they get past Marlington.
Oh, yeah.
I have West Branch taking on Cheney.
Yep, I have West Branch, Cheney, and then at the top I have Poland versus, I think, Salem. I think it's going to be Poland-Salem.
I'm not going to sleep on Louisville, although I do think Salem will wind up winning this game. Louisville wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form if Louisville came into Salem and beat Salem. Salem is not playing good basketball in the last couple of days. We'll see if they can get themselves back.
They won on Saturday, right? They won.
Yeah, the Friday they got beat by Canton South.
Right. And then they bounced back on Saturday, and I'm really glamored by that win against Hudson earlier in the year. I think that showed me a lot. Canton South is a tough team. I had them going to the district finals, so in the Northeast 1. So,
yeah.
Losing to Canton South in a close game is nothing to really hang your head about.
It isn't.
I think Salem's a good team. I think Drew Weir's going to play a great game, and Hunter Griffith is a good secondary scorer, and they play at the rim. Man, do they play at the rim. They got some guys that can jump out of the gym. So
yeah.
I think Salem wins that game, gets to the district semis with a rematch for Poland from earlier in the year.
Louisville is one of those teams I just... man, they left the EBC under very questionable
and maybe that comes
ways, and that comes back in an angry kind of a way. If Louisville plays Salem, they are going to. It is going to be a very physical, very angry type of a game because Louisville they're still not too happy with being dismissed out of the EBC.
Maybe their fans and their alumni are, but I mean, how mad are the kids that are going there now going to be about it? Because it happened a while ago, right?
It happened a couple of years ago.
So
yeah.
I mean, you wonder how that trickles down to the students and the players in the court. But absolutely, their alumni and their coaches and their faculty and their fans are probably still upset about it.
Either team will give Poland a really tough test in the district semifinals. I'm gonna go with Salem, though I will say Louisville. I'm not sleeping on them at all. It will not surprise me if Louisville knocks off Salem and goes into the district semifinals to play Poland. Poland in the district championship.
I got that. I think.
Okay.
I think they're deeper than Salem, and I think they'll find more ways to score.
This bottom one is an intriguing matchup. And again, it all depends on how this game is officiated. If this game is officiated very tight, I think that Cheney routs West Branch. But if they allow these kids to play a physical style of basketball, I'm going to call West Branch upsetting Cheney in the district semifinals.
I don't think that West Branch has enough offense to catch up with Cheney. I think they'll slow Cheney down a little bit. Cheney's not going to score 70 or 80. They might score 60 or even 58, 55, 60. But it's going to be, can West Branch find the clutch offense? And
it's got to be more than Hendershot.
Right. So I'm going to say Cheney wins that game, and they're going to do it by scoring enough. Not as much as they're used to, but enough.
Okay. I normally sit back and say any team that plays physical gets beat in the tournament because you will sooner or later run into an officiating crew that's not going to let you play that type of physical play.
The thing you have to do is you have to be able to adjust to the officiating on the fly. I mean, okay, they're calling a lot of fouls. I still have to be aggressive and physical on defense, but I also have to be smart about it. And there's a way to do it. And if the teams are able to adjust to it right, then they can still play their brand of basketball and win tournament games. It's just depending on whether your kids are mentally tough enough to adjust to referees that are calling them tight.
Well, you also have to be smart enough to make sure that you're still playing tough basketball, tough defense, but you're not aggressively, going after them with hand checks and whatnot. That's the one thing the big thing. If you're doing hand checks and they're calling hand checks, okay, now you're going to have to go about it a different direction.
The one thing I've noticed in districts of the last couple of years, the referees have kind of taken a back seat in the district, especially district championships. They haven't wanted to be too much of a part of that game, and they've let kids play, which I like. I like letting kids get a little bit more physical in a district championship game because there's a lot on the line, and you don't want to call 20 fouls and a half in a district championship game. So I like the fact that we've seen the referees kind of take a little bit of a step back in district championship games the last couple of years, and I think we might see that again.
Well, again, if they let them play basketball and let them play a physical brand of basketball, West Branch has a really good chance at knocking off Cheney. But Cheney's so prolific.
Yeah.
And again, if all of this is the equalizer being COVID, so you hope and pray that nobody has COVID. If it's Cheney and Poland, whoo, boy, that'll be a great tournament championship. If it's West Branch and Poland, if it's West Branch and Salem, you would be looking at an interesting district championship game. There's a lot of different directions here. If it's Cheney and Poland, I think it's a whiz-bang game. I just went old school.
Cheney Poland will be very fun because they're so conflicting styles.
Yeah.
Cheney likes to run. They like to be the running gun, quick shots, good shots. Poland is so okay with going slow and feeding inside and then getting back outside and running when they can but not forcing transition. So it'll be fun if those two teams go at it to see who wins the tempo battle and who wins that chess match of when do I run, when do I not run, and two really good coaches going at it as well. So it'd be a really fun district championship game if it came down to Poland and Cheney. Right now, I'd lean towards Cheney a little bit, but I really want to see how Poland comes out of this shutdown.
Yeah, that's and again, the contrasting styles. You can also say the same thing about Cheney and West Branch if they happen to meet in the district semifinals. West Branch has a slow half-court basketball mentality as well.
I think Poland is, when I talk about Cheney having an advantage over West Branch in that game compared to Poland, I think Poland has a little bit more offense, a little bit more consistent shooting, and I like their ability to make clutch shots a little bit more, and so we'll see. I think they'll both be a contrast of styles for sure.
Okay, as we take a look at Northeast 4, surprisingly enough, the 2 seed went up and joined the 1 seed, which I'm not really 100% sure why anyone would do that with St. V. But Warrensville Heights is the 3 seed. Bay Village Bay is the 4 seed. Richland Revere is the 7 seed. District 4 is the opponent for Northeast 2. And Northeast 2 has Poland and Cheney and West Branch. So Whoever wins that has a decent chance.
I wouldn't sleep on Revere, actually, in that bracket. I know they're the 7th seed, and they'll have a hard road to go, but they play a brutal schedule, and they've been pretty decent this year, so I wouldn't sleep on Revere making some noise in that district.
But whoever wins the Poland and Cheney and West Branch district, they have a legitimate chance to get to a regional championship game. It's the other region which is pretty interesting. Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary is the top seed. Now, as I say this, Northeast 5, apparently there's a 5th team in Northeast because Akron St. V, the one team or the closest seed to them is the 6th, and that's LaGrange Keystone. You've got a 15, a 24, a 20, and a 12. You've got a 32 and a 30. You got an 18, you got a 19, and you got a 22. So everyone vacated the hell out of Northeast 3 and went to Northeast 5, which is in Region 6. Northeast 5 includes number 5 Norton, number 8 Canal Fulton Northwest, number 2 Buchtel, and number 9 Oberlin Firelands. And they're in a completely different region.
Yeah, and Buchtel went to a district where they could probably run away with that district, and they wouldn't have to worry about running into Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary.
So St. V's is the overwhelming favorite, and they would be playing the winner of the Struthers and the next seed above Struthers, which is hang on a second, I just lost the next team above Struthers, which is Perry. Ursuline is in there as well. So whoever wins that particular district, you got to go up against Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary in the regional semifinals. Good luck with that.
Cheney was set up to him last year. We thought that Cheney really could have had a good showing against Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. So whoever goes into that game, you just have to be confident, and you have to play not to lose, play to win, play to win, not to not lose, and then you let the chips fall where they may. It's not LeBron's team anymore. They're not the dynasty. They're good. They're really good, but they're not like the Goliath that they used to be. So you just got to be confident and go into that game with knowing that it's going to be on a neutral floor and see where your chips fall. I think Struthers has a legit chance.
Yeah, if
they
Struthers
are so talented.
Yeah, if they're playing on their A game, I think it'd be a fun game to watch, just to see where Struthers is in comparison to the premier Division II program in northeastern Ohio in Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary.
And if they win, and then the other district pulls off a regional semifinal win, we could have an all YSN regional final for a chance to go to state.
Well, and again, the Poland and Cheney district. The top seed in the other one in the other bracket is the 3 Warrensville Heights, which is out of the Cleveland area, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're, I'm not gonna poo-poo them because they're a good team. Bay Village Bay is a good team. Richfield Revere is a solid team. I don't know if they're good enough to win this district, but they'll certainly be heard from, and there's no two ways about that.
Where do they fall in the bracket? Would they have?
They would have to play Bay Village Bay in the district semifinals.
I'm gonna call it here and say that the Revere gets to at least the district championship.
Okay. So Warrensville Heights they're good. They're very good, but are they as good as Cheney? Are they as good as Poland? Are they as good as West Branch? Are they as good as Salem? I don't know. I mean, we could see that bracket. I think that bracket has a better chance of getting to a regional championship than Struthers, mainly because the Struthers bracket has to play Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary, which is just an unbelievably tall task. But if Struthers is playing great basketball, they're up to that task. I think this would be entertaining, to say the least.
The good news for Struthers is that they beat Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. They have to feel like they can win a state championship.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
So
one would think,
because Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary is one of the teams that everyone kind of looks at to say they might win a state championship. So if you knock them out, you go into that slot.
It would be entertaining to say the least, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Division II is extremely deep.
What I love about this is you could see an NE8 matchup for a regional championship.
That's true.
You could see Struthers versus Poland, winner goes to state, and that's just awesome.
It could very well be that way. It could very well be the matchup that we were supposed to see in the regional semifinals last year, which was Cheney taking on Akron St. V's. This is going to be fascinating to say the least. We go to Division I next, but actually it's not going to be next. Next, we're going to be hearing from Bob Hannon, the voice of the YSU football Penguins. 2 weeks from, 1 week from Sunday. Weird that they're playing on a Sunday. That's kind of weird. But they are playing North Dakota State in the Fargo Dome on a Sunday, and we'll see what the Penguins can come up with against a very good North Dakota State team. By the way, the defending champs.
By the way, just updating, Youngstown State up 27-21 at halftime over Richmond. So
Rochester, or is it Richmond? Yeah.
Sorry. They're still in a close game, and we'll see what they do.
I'm a little surprised by that. 27-21 at halftime. Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, so Penguins up by 6 on Rochester, an NAIA school, 27-21. Good to see Quisenberry back on the floor again. I don't know how many minutes they're going to let him play, but good to see him back on the floor. All right, we'll take a timeout. Bob Hannon coming up next. Stick around.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. As we go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, we're 13 days away from the start of YSU's football season. Yes, football in February. And, let's bring in the voice of the YSU football program, Bob Hannon, who joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Did you ever think in your life, Bob, that you would be calling football in February?
Absolutely not, Ron. I thought the latest we would get would be those national championship games in January, but in 2020, now into 21, there's a lot of things I don't think we could have imagined. And by the way, I looked today, it was minus 6 degrees in Fargo. We opened there 2 weeks from yesterday. Fortunately, the game's in a dome. And they seat about 19,000 there, Ron. They're expecting to allow about 9,500 fans into that game.
Wow. That'll be impressive. What is the status on fans being allowed to go to Stambaugh to watch the Penguins play this year?
I believe as of now they're maxing at 3,000. Could change as the season progresses, but that's the last I heard, that they would allow 3,000 fans. And our first game will be 6 days after our opener. Actually, we're opening on a Sunday, which is different, but that'll be the 27th with Northern Iowa. So 3,000.
Okay, now the question begs to be asked. Obviously, if they're only allowing 3,000, what's the tailgate situation going to be like? I mean, am I going to actually have people in the tailgate lot giving me food while I'm doing the tailgate show?
That's all Ron cares about.
Exactly. I mean, I gotta figure out where I'm getting my damn food before I go into the stadium here.
Ron, you're going to have to load up on media food because there will be no tailgating at YSU football this year.
Ron quits. It's over.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to get up early, box early, or because by the time you get up there at kickoff with those media guys, there'll be nothing left.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, now that I know that there's no tailgate show, I mean that part of the pregame show gets taken out, right. unless of course I'm doing the tailgate show from your broadcast booth, which, by the way, would be kind of nice given the fact that all through the years I've been freezing my tuchus off while you've been in a nice warm press box all these years. It would kind of be nice if if we're doing football in the winter that yours truly would do a tailgate show from a warm press box instead of a freezing tailgate lot.
Well, we welcome you. You come up, get something to eat, relax, and hang out with us before you go to work. So I would think that's probably what will happen. You'll do some kind of pre-game, I don't know, it'll be tailgate, whatever, from upstairs.
This is going to be a weird season in so many ways. I mean, obviously, and I even mentioned this at the top of the broadcast. When the season ends, football season normally ends at the end of the Super Bowl, and then I get conditioned into, okay, well, it's a week or two, and pitchers, catchers report, let's get into baseball mode. We're not going to be getting into baseball mode anytime soon, not with YSU playing football all the way through early April and hopefully beyond.
Right, it's so weird for a lot of reasons. I've been up to practice, and what they do is when a player's coming off of COVID, they're in a yellow jersey. Last week I was up, I think there were 8 players in yellow jerseys recovering from COVID. You had another handful that weren't at practice because of COVID or COVID protocol. Everybody's experiencing it. Mark Wade was in street clothes my first day of practice. He had lost about 12 pounds. who's battling for the starting quarterback because of COVID. So he's just working his way back in. So I think that one thing that I think the teams that survive and get to the playoffs and make a run more than any other year will need depth because of injuries, of course, but also because of COVID and who's not playing and who you're going to plug in. So I think getting those second and sometimes third-line guys ready to play, and on the FCS level with less scholarships, you don't have the depth that they have at FBS. So it's a whole different story for coaches and preparation and getting guys ready to play. We did a media call last week with all the coaches and even the veteran coaches like John Stiglmeyer out of South Dakota State. He's been there forever. They just said they've never experienced anything like this.
You know, yesterday we got the terrible news that the Penguins lost a member of their family, and Darius Shackleford, who was a member of the team from 2015 to 2020. Can you just speak about what you knew about him and what he meant to the team and how the team can kind of use this loss to kind of play for him this season and try to make it a rallying call and try to make something positive out of this tragedy?
You know, Darius came from Newark, Ohio, came here rather, I thought, quiet, unassuming, just went about doing his job. He played some as a junior in 18, and at his size, 6'4", 195, I think we all thought 2019 was going to be a breakout year for Darius Shackleford. And unfortunately, in camp in August or late July, I believe early August, suffered a serious injury, didn't play at all. And I don't think he ever recovered from that injury. So I think the best on-field that we would have seen out of Darius Shackleford was shut down because of injury, but contributed to the program, hung in there early, even when he wasn't playing a lot as a freshman and sophomore, seemed to be very persistent and determined to graduate from Youngstown State and be a Penguin, and just went about his business and was devastated when he had that injury in 19. Very sad news, tough to overcome, someone that young, being 24. You know, when you look at the circumstances, wrong place, wrong time. I mean, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He just was hit the wrong place when a very tragic story. And I know a lot of his teammates, I'm sure, you know, are mourning what's happening now. But I always found him to be a gentleman and just a class person.
Bob, as we look into the 2020 season, you know, the last time we saw the Penguins take the field, Bo Pelini was the head football coach. The team had, I believe they got a victory the final game of the 2019 season. But a lot has changed. Certainly a lot has changed. Not only has Coach Pelini left, there's been a couple of players that have left the program as well. As we go into Coach Phillips' first game in 13 days, give us a sense of the guys that are returning and guys that are battling for positions.
You know, Ron, good questions. You're right. We won that final game under Coach Pelini, upset Illinois State at home, and Illinois State went on to win 2 playoff games. So to close the chapter, I thought, you know, Pelini did some good things, second-year national championship game, coached them up with Coach Wolford's players, but we weren't able to capitalize on that 16 season and continue that on to be a perennial playoff team. So Bo went on to LSU, his brother Carl to Mooney, and, you know, we all wish him the best. I think Coach Phillips was the right guy at the right time. And what I mean by that is he has done all the things you could possibly do before coaching a game. He's been in the community as much as he could with COVID. He's been out helping nonprofits. He's been speaking to groups. He's very positive. He's very upbeat. I think we needed that, someone who was very visible. It's very hard now because when I say hard now, because you have a very young staff. Other than Coach Peterson on the offensive line, who's a holdover, you have relatively a brand-new coaching staff, a lot of young faces. Joe Schaefer, the defensive coordinator, is very young. Some of the coaches do have more experience. So now you're going in, brand-new coaching staff. You've had to sit out the fall. So I think it is important they play spring to get accustomed to one another. As for what we can expect on the field, I think you have a good quarterback battle. I think Joe Craycraft will start at quarterback. I think he's thrown the football maybe a little bit better, but I also think since Wade was out, battling COVID, put him a little behind. From what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mark Wade used in the role that Taysom Hill's used with the New Orleans Saints. So those that follow the NFL know that Hill was a backup to Breeze. He played quarterback. He could play tailback, tight end, wide receiver. I think Wade will be on the field a lot. I don't know how much of it will be a quarterback. I think that they want to take advantage of Mark Wade's skill set. I think running back is probably one of the deepest areas of this team. You've got Christian Turner coming back for a senior year. I know they also like a few of the other guys that potentially could play. Braxton Chapman, who's now a junior. They've been waiting for him to really step up, out of Farrell, Pennsylvania. Dre Rushton, a local kid from Liberty. So I think running back's pretty good shape. I think wide receiver, probably not a true number one. Samuel St. Cyr would likely be the number one guy. I know the game last year, when I say last year, 2019, at Indiana State, they saw some good things out of C.J. Charleston. He was a redshirt freshman wide receiver. He came up big at Indiana State. I think, Ron, offensively, the biggest concern is offensive line. Becker's back. He's first-team all-conference. He's our only first-team all-conference selection. So I think you anchor things around him. He's a very good Dan Becker, 6'5", 295, one of your captains. I think he's really good. They're hoping that maybe some of the transfers come in that they brought in at midseason. James Morrow came in from Salina High School, which is a high school that produced a lot of good players. He played at Butler Community College. Nick Rosen is a transfer from Lehigh, a senior. So I think offensive line is a worry with just starters, let alone depth. So I think the plan will be to get rid of the ball quickly. You're not going to see a lot of seven-step drops and that kind of action. I think you're going to see the quarterbacks get the ball to their hands quickly to try to, take advantage of maybe, an offensive line that's going to be a bit inexperienced and be a bit of a concern. Just moving over to defense, I think up front, I think they've got some guys. Vinny Gentile out of Cardinal Mooney they like. He's only going to be a sophomore. DeMarco Craig has experience. I think he's probably the most talented defensive lineman returning. I also think they believe they can get some good play out of Antoine Cook, who's played some on the defensive line. Linebacker, again, you've got a lot of youth on defense, Ron. You've got a lot of guys that are gone. Griffin Hoke, who's a sophomore out of Dublin Coffman High School, probably one of the guys they're going to look to carry. You mentioned players leaving. Bryce Gibson left, one of our cornerbacks. Now, we did get some really good experience in the secondary. Isaac Steele, who will be a senior, is a transfer from Liberty, and Alan Stritzinger, who's a senior, is a transfer from Syracuse. They both played at Liberty in Syracuse. It's both 6 feet, about 180. I think they'll play some in that secondary. But it's a handful of transfers. I don't want to speak for Coach Phillips, I think he believes they can score and move the ball. A lot of youth on defense, and we have enough players right now on the defensive side to be able to compete in the Missouri Valley Conference.
When you look at quarterbacks, and we talked about quarterbacks for YSU and what their thing is, but the big story for week one is, North Dakota State's stud opted out of this season to get ready for the NFL draft. I'm sure they have someone else waiting in the wings that's, going to be, just as good. Do you have any idea what their quarterback situation looks like for week one?
Yeah, that's a good question. They lose Trey Lance, who is going to the NFL, and we're glad he's gone. We would have seen him in the fall. He played one game. They played one game, likely to be a top 15 pick. North Dakota State is planning on starting Zeb Noland. He's a transfer from Iowa State. Now, 2 years ago, in a game against Oklahoma, he threw for 300 yards. So he's very capable. He just hasn't played football. He sat behind Trey Lance and hasn't gotten on the field. And other than that, they've got a lot of youth at quarterback. They've got a transfer in from Virginia Tech. I believe his name's Patterson, but he can't play till next fall. So this Zeb Noland will be the quarterback. And they've taken some hits as well. They had a really good running back, Adam Cofield, who decided to transfer to Western Kentucky and play at Western Kentucky because he wanted to play in the fall. They've lost a couple other guys on defense. North Dakota State has because of guys that they think can go to the NFL that aren't going to play. But listen, every poll I've looked at, they're preseason number one. So instead of maybe having 14 starters back, they're going to have 11 back from the national championship team. They've won 8 of the last 9 titles. But I think they're a little lean and inexperienced compared to the teams we've seen. They always seem to have that big-time stud of quarterback with experience, although Lance didn't have that when he came in. So we'll see what this quarterback looks like, this Zeb Nolan. But they're good on the offensive line. I think they're maybe not as good as they've been on the defensive line, where they've been very good. But they are preseason number one for sure.
With Indiana State saying, hey, we're not going to take part in this, we'll see you guys in the fall, Youngstown State will have a schedule where they play 4 games at home and they'll play 4 games on the road. And, you know, we sat back and the basketball team, the men's basketball team was just really angry as all get out at the schedule that the Horizon League gave them, with 8 of their first 10 games, conference games, being played on the road. You look at this YSU football schedule, the first half of the schedule, YSU has to go to the Fargo Dome to play the defending national champs. Then Northern Iowa comes to Stambaugh. That's not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. Southern Illinois comes to YSU. Southern Illinois is in a program that's improving by leaps and bounds. And then, oh, by the way, Youngstown State has to go to South Dakota State. So the first half of this schedule, man, that's a meat grinder.
Ron, you nailed it. So before Indiana State dropped out, it was a little more manageable to start. So when they dropped out, the schedule was redone. So North Dakota State we open with, they're going to be preseason number 1. Northern Iowa is going to be ranked in the top 5. They have the preseason conference quarterback, number 1 quarterback, Will McElvain. So Northern Iowa has 17 starters back. They'll be ranked in the top 5, for sure, top 10 in North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, South Dakota State. And by the way, Southern Illinois will probably be ranked about 12 to 14. So Doug Phillips has a tough start. And now you want to try to get some momentum and enthusiasm and get people fired up. You've got to find a way to salvage, I think, at least one of those first 4, and the one you would think that you have the best opportunity would be Southern Illinois. But the whole league's good. North Dakota now comes into the league, and they're a pretty good program. South Dakota is getting better, and we haven't even mentioned Illinois State, who's a perennial playoff team. But there's more to their schedule than Youngstown State. It's impossible to have to open with those first 4 games and anybody have a tougher run.
I think it'd be naive to think that we'll go the entire spring football season in the Missouri Valley Conference without having someone have some kind of COVID issue. We saw it all the time with college football in the fall. We're seeing it with college basketball. We're seeing it with NFL football. Whatever it may be, it's really hard to go through a whole season without a shutdown or something happening. What are the protocols for if a team has to take a break, and do they have room on the back end to make up games, or are they just going to cancel it and say, hey, if you can't play the games, you can't play the games, and go from there?
I think that'll be it. If you can't play, you can't play, because we're going to start a playoff. There's not a month off till there's a bowl game or, an FBS Final Four. We're going right into the playoffs. I think if Youngstown State gets 7 games in, that'd be great. Hopefully we'll get in at least 6. And I think that's how all the teams feel, that we'll play at least 6. And we'll do our best to get in 7 or 8. But there are going to be teams, I think, that they're going to probably run into situations, and then likely their opponent, and then you go back to contact tracing. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I think it's just a fluid situation, and deal with it as you go, and try to get your team, healthy going into the postseason. But it's going to be different. Now I know the players will get tested 3 times a week. We're all going to get tested before every road trip. So they're doing everything they can to stay out in front of it, but it's going to happen. And then what happens, if you get a team like a North Dakota State that gets it going into the playoffs, I would think then they would have to forfeit or not be eligible to play in the postseason if you get it late.
The regular season comes to an end on April the 10th. The playoffs follow. You're probably looking at mid-May by the time you bring a championship, if they're able to get that far. You would crown a champion around mid-May and then turn around and do it again 3 months later. The turnaround is going to be incredibly quick.
Well, Ron, that's why Indiana State opted out. They opted out because they came to the conclusion they're not sure it's safe to play an 8-game schedule, potential playoffs in the spring, and then turn around and play a fall schedule. So they said, we're going to take a pass on the spring and get ready for the fall. That was their main reason. You're right. It's a very quick turnaround, and no one's ever been through it. So let's say you would happen to win the national title in the spring. That's 12 games, and then you would get to the title game and maybe win it in the fall. That's 15. So a program like North Dakota State, who certainly that's their goal and could happen, that would be 27 games to be played between May and January. I mean, that's a lot of football games and a lot of practice. So the off-season conditioning has to change, the weight program. How do you handle the guys in the summer? It's all brand new, Ron, for everybody to deal with. But I think you bring up a good point. That's a lot of games, and that's a lot to put on someone's body. And oh, by the way, you're going to school too. You're trying to get a degree. So it's brand new for everyone.
Honestly, and I will not ever root against Youngstown State because I obviously want them to win every game. But, you know, if you get through the season and go to one playoff game, and let's say you're eliminated April the 17th, that's the equivalent of playing your spring game. Now shut everything down until August. Give everyone that time off. And then in August, everyone comes back and let's get ready for the fall. Basically what I'm saying is, I'm not going to lose any sleep if the Penguins don't go to the playoffs, or if the Penguins go to the playoffs and get a quick exit. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it because I think that this team is – the teams that don't go to the playoffs are going to be the teams that are going to be way more prepared for the upcoming football season than those teams that make a lengthy playoff and then have a very short time off and then get back into the meat grinder again.
Well, you're right. If you open in late July, training camp for these kids, you're only going to get a couple months off, maybe 2.5 months off if you play in the championship game. I think Coach Phillips looks, he wants to win, but he looks at it as an audition for what's going to happen in the fall. Ron, the other thing I haven't gotten an answer to, and I need to do a little bit of digging before the game next week. So if you're a senior, you play in the spring, you don't lose your eligibility. You're able to come back. So take Christian Turner, who's a senior running back. He's playing now as a senior, and he can return in the fall as a senior. You keep your eligibility. I haven't gotten the answer. How does that impact incoming freshmen then? Because you're going to have too many scholarships. You're going to have, where are these schools getting this money to be able to bring in a freshman class and not lose anybody? Now, there are guys that will leave. Maybe you feel you got your degree, you want to move on. Maybe you feel you had enough football. So not all the seniors will come back. But you do have an opportunity if you're a senior to come back in the fall, even if you play in the spring. So those are some things that, I'll get an answer to from Ron Strollo before we play. But it's going to take its toll on you, and it's going to take its toll on your depth, and can you stay healthy, and can you turn around and do that in the fall? I know that everybody's mixed about playing in the spring. Listening to the coaches last week, I think the majority like it. They feel that they're just anxious to get out there and play some games, but not everybody was in favor of playing spring football.
That being said, are you kind of surprised that Indiana State was the only program to pass on the spring, especially after they did it? Are you surprised that no one else really followed suit and decided that they were going to do it too?
I thought some teams might. I thought it might be, okay, let's take a look at this and step back. But no one has. I was a little surprised. Another thing that was brought up a lot in the coaches' call was the portal. Every program at our FCS level have been cherry picked by FBS. We lost Justice Reed to Virginia Tech. Adam Cofield, North Dakota State, went to Western Kentucky, and it's tough. You recruit a young guy, you work hard. You put him through 2 or 3 years. He's ready to graduate. He's ready to make a real impact on your team. And next thing you know, he's going off to play FBS or leave your program. It seems like an easy out, but that's the new role that you can leave as long as you're in good academic standard and go play right away. It used to be if you went from Youngstown State, like Justice Reed did to Virginia Tech, you had to sit out a year. But if you drop down, you could play right away. So that was a lot of the discussion, too. All these programs have lost really good players, or at least maybe 1 or 2 pretty good players to FBS programs.
Bob, before we let you go, I wanted to bring this up. Brian Driscoll is one of our guests, and he covers Notre Dame, and he was talking about that in the not-so-distant future, there is the possibility that the Power Five and Notre Dame completely separate themselves from the rest of Division I football and say, we're going to have our own tournament, thank you very much. Is it going to come a time, if the Power Five and Notre Dame decide to do just this and say, listen, we're going to take care of our own playoff, if that were to happen, would the FCS elevate themselves with the other mid-majors and say, let's play Division I football, everyone gets 85 scholarships, and we'll do our own thing, and the Power Five and Notre Dame does their thing?
That could happen. That'd probably be a good thing, Ron, because it's just you've got the MAC. I mean, the MAC schools shouldn't be playing with Alabama and Notre Dame and Ohio State. The one thing Jim Tressel always has advocated for is, rather than Youngstown State moving up to the MAC, which we can't afford to do, maybe the MAC comes to us, and it's more where Akron and Kent and OU would be playing FCS football. So something has to change. I don't think, from a competition standpoint, it's great to play in the Missouri Valley Conference. There's no conference in the country anywhere near as good. But we're the only team in the league that's this far east. Our shortest trip is Indiana. It's a 7.5-hour bus ride, because we bus there. Every other trip's a flight. So we have 4 flights this year. The other teams in the conference have minimal flying. They can bus, and it saves them a ton of money. We don't have a geographic rival, which I think hurts. I think fans a lot of fans were excited about us playing Akron this year. I mean, Akron maybe isn't very good, and we're rebuilding, but I think they liked it. It's a 45-minute drive. It's up the road, and I think Youngstown State fans like beating the MAC. So I think all those things have to be looked at, and at some point I think it'll change, because it doesn't seem to make sense right now the way it's set up, FCS, FBS. So I think something will change.
Hey, Bob, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you every Monday at 2 o'clock during the YSU football season, which begins in 13 days.
You got it, Ron. Always enjoy it. Take care.
Brother, always a pleasure. Bob Hannon, the voice of the YSU football program, and it is so freaking weird to say football season in 13 days. It's just this is weird.
I'm with him. I think I was surprised to see more schools not follow Indiana State's kind of lead, because there have been a lot of schools that have been weary about spring football, and they've been adamant that they don't really like it, but they're going to do it. So when Indiana State said, "Hey, we're going to opt out," I thought, "Oh man, this might be the block you pull from the Jenga tower that knocks everyone else. Oh, it's okay to do it. Let's just pull out." But no one else followed suit. So we have a pretty normal schedule for the Missouri Valley Conference. 8 games, right?
Yep,
so,
8 games.
I think we might see a team get a COVID test early or a breakout early and just say, we're not even going to play the rest of it. Because if you have to shut down for a week or two, what's the point in playing the rest of the spring?
Yeah,
anyway?
Exactly.
So I think if you have to shut down, you might shut down for the whole season.
Well, and again, if it depends on where you are. Let's say you're 1-3 and you get COVID, right. I would shut down and say, look, we're not going to go to the playoffs.
But that hurts the teams that have you on the future.
Oh, absolutely.
So this might be a really weird, crazy FCS football season.
Yeah, it starts on Sunday, February the 21st at 3:30. Youngstown State goes to the Fargo Dome. All of the home games at Stambaugh will start at 12 noon, which I think is a great idea, especially when you're in the dead of winter. It's probably best to play while it's as warm or
the 40s or 50s, hopefully.
Yeah, the Penguins will play 4 home games. They're going to play Northern Iowa on February 27th at 12 noon.
That's going to be cold.
Southern Illinois on Saturday, March the 6th at 12 noon.
Probably cold.
Saturday, March the 20th at 12 noon.
Could be warmer.
And Saturday, March 27th at 12 noon.
Could be warmer. Could be in the 50s by then.
50s?
50s, 40s.
Maybe.
Something that's not below 20.
I'll tell you who would be happy if temperatures were in the 50s and 60s in late March. That would be our boy Brian Tolnar over at Mill Creek. because everyone and their brother would be at Mill Creek golfing.
We would be happy too because we would be broadcasting high school softball and baseball. And we would not be sitting in freezing temperatures to do so.
This is very true. This is very true. We're going to take a timeout. On the other end, we have Division I to talk about. Yes, the D1 tournament. We have not forgotten about Boardman and Fitch and Harding. No, we have not forgotten about you three schools. We will get to the D1 tournaments coming up in just a bit. It is a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
High-res Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold.
It is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Winds is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because
I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
All right, as promised, we got to get back and do Division I because there are three teams in Division I that will be playing in Region 2. Yeah, Region 2. And let's just say that two of the teams are going to be in one Northeast District tournament, and the other team is going to be in the Northeast 2 district. First and foremost, let's go to Northeast District 1, where Fitch and Harding are going to be in their tournament. Harding is going to get the winner of Massillon-Jackson and Akron-Ellett. Massillon-Jackson is the 3 seed. Akron-Ellett is the 35 seed.
Whoa.
Harding is seeded 32nd in this tournament, which
they struggled this year a lot.
Yeah, they have struggled, but this is a team that played with Boardman and played really well against Boardman. Harding gets the winner of Massillon-Jackson and Akron-Ellett. It would not surprise me if Warren Harding beat Massillon-Jackson.
Yeah, and no, I would be utterly shocked if that happened because Massillon-Jackson is a phenomenal team, and you know, I would be a little. I think I would be really shocked.
It wouldn't surprise me
to go to the Polar Bears Den in Massillon.
Yeah, I actually like Fitch in this game against Lakeside, but after that, Akron-Hoban awaits, and they're the 6th seed. Hoban's pretty good.
Hoban's good. I mean, you talk about Division I. We did this with the girls. It's a different animal because you can see like a 15 seed it could easily beat a 5. Like something like that. Like a 19 seed can easily go up and beat a 4 or 5 seed because the talent and the size of Division I is so similar and there's so much parity in Division I. So, yeah, Division I's fun, and I think Boardman has a shot to beat Lakeside, and then
that would be Fitch beating Lakeside.
Fitch,
yeah,
sorry, Fitch. And then you roll the dice, and I think they have a shot to beat Hoban. I mean, the 6th seed is not like a guarantee in Division I because everything kind of evens out after you get past the first 3. So from like 4 seed down to 20, it's like right here, and there's just so much wiggle room. And
yeah,
you know,
Boardman is in the District 2 side of things. This is where Canton McKinley is the 2 seed. They're the highest seeded team in this.
That's rough.
Kent McKinley plays Kenmore Garfield, the 37 seed. If they beat them, they'll play the 33 seed Cuyahoga Falls. You could pretty much put McKinley in the district.
McKinley in the district
semifinals. Yeah. Painesville Riverside is hosting Euclid. The winner of that game gets Canton Glen Oak. Euclid is the highest seed Riverside is the highest seed at 13. Glen Oak is a 16. Euclid is a 21. Uniontown Lake is a 20. North Canton Hoover is the 12. The winner of that game gets Boardman at Boardman. The Spartans are the 9 seed. By the way, Division I gets underway in 16 days. The 24th of February.
Boardman already played Hoover down in Massillon Washington High School. They played on a neutral site, and I believe lost to them maybe by like 1 possession.
Yeah.
It was a really close game. So just another testament to how deep Division I is and how hard that game would be if it matched up with them again.
Yeah, but this time it would be in Boardman.
Right.
So maybe you get a different outcome. The other bracket, Akron North, the 29 seed, plays Hunting Valley University School, the number 8 seed. The winner of that game gets number 14 Green. So does Boardman get into a district semifinal? They get their hands full, especially if North Canton Hoover beats Uniontown Lake. I mean, that's a go back into the Federal League days. Both Uniontown Lake and North Canton Hoover are in the Federal League, so it's an opponent Boardman is not completely detached from, because back in the day, Boardman and Fitch did belong in the Federal League.
And the Federal League, for people that don't know, is like a gauntlet of basketball.
Yeah, some really good basketball.
Especially on the girls' side, by the way.
Yeah.
The Federal League is unbelievable.
You could be seeing a district championship where Boardman plays Canton McKinley. You could see that.
Yeah,
although
I can see that.
Although University School is the lowest seed. Well, University School just out of the Cleveland area.
Whoa.
Yeah, there you go. Look, Boardman, Fitch, and Harding are in a ridiculously horrible district, and it doesn't matter which side of the whether you're District 1 or District 2, it's just tough. I mean, if Boardman can get a district championship, consider yourself and your season to be an unbelievable success, being that Canton McKinley is in your district.
Division I is brutal. It's brutal. There's, like I said, after the 3 seed, there's so much parity between 4 and like 18, and anyone can beat anybody, and all those teams seem to have at least one player that's one of those game wreckers that can go off and win a game by himself.
Yeah, by the way, Menor is not going to be on anyone's radar if Harding, Fitch, or Boardman were to get into the region. You wouldn't see Menor for a bit. Harding and Fitch's region includes number 3 Massillon Jackson, number 4 Lyndhurst Brush, number 5 Walsh Jesuit, and number 6 Akron Hoban.
So basically, they're playing what was it, Harding and Fitch's?
Yeah, Harding would wind up playing, barring a major upset, Massillon Jackson, the 3 seed in the first round of the tournament.
And then Fitch is down there too, right? Or is Fitch with Boardman?
Fitch is in the bottom bracket opposite Harding.
Right.
They play Lakeside. If they win that game, they would go play Akron Hoban.
All right. So that's the bracket that Boardman is lined up with.
Yeah, well,
in the regional semi.
Actually, no. Boardman is in a bracket lined up against Medina, the 3 seed, Worcester, the 8 seed, Shaker Heights, the 4 seed, Cleveland Heights, the 9 seed. That would be the bracket Boardman's. If Boardman were to win a district, they have a decent chance at going to a regional championship game, although I think
if you
that's
beat Canton
McKinley.
you're going to feel really good about your chances.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But Harding and Fitch's opponent in Northeast 3, now you're looking at Mentor. They're the top dog. And Mentor's competition comes from Solon because they're the only other team in this district that is not or that is in the top 10. Solon is number 7. Mentor is number 1. Everyone else cleared away from Mentor. To give you an idea, Mentor's path, they're playing number 34 East Lake North, number 36 Paynesville Harvey. If they get into the district semifinals, the lowest or the highest seed they would play would be 11 Dover. And then in the district championship, the highest seed they would play is 7 Solon. So Mentor, with all due respect, has a pretty easy task.
No one wanted anything to do with Mentor.
Yeah, nobody wanted to play Mentor in that district tournament, Northeast 3. Nobody wanted Mentor at all. So this is going to be entertaining to say the least. But do I like Boardman's chances to get to a district tournament? Yeah, I think Boardman could. But, again, the draw for Boardman in the district tournament, it's tough, at least in the sectional title. I'm sorry. The draw for Boardman in the sectional title is tough. You're going to have North Canton Hoover or Uniontown Lake. And as you mentioned, Boardman lost to North Canton Hoover earlier in the season. So that's kind of a tough draw for a sectional title game, even though that title game would be in Boardman.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a big key, the staying home and not having to go all the way to Canton for that game. I think that'll be big. And if Boardman can get 1 or 2 wins in that district, it's a props to them because, man, it's stacked. And then if the stars align and they beat Canton McKinley and win a district championship.
Yeah, you get out of this district, you've done something.
Yeah,
you've done something pretty amazing.
And you know what? I believe in Coach Birch. I think they can do it. It'll be hard. It'll be tough. It'll be the odds will be stacked against them, but I believe that they can do it.
Well, and this is a Canton McKinley team that bounced them in the district semifinals last year. And Canton McKinley is coached by former Harding head basketball coach Andy Velakovich. He took the McKinley job 2 years ago, so I'll be curious to see what happens. But like I said, Boardman, if they can win their sectional title game against Hoover or Uniontown Lake, they would play a district semifinal game probably against University School, which is the 8 seed, and then you'd have to go up into the Cleveland area because Boardman is the 9. But it wouldn't surprise me if Boardman got to a district championship game. It really wouldn't.
I think the local teams, they have the best shot. So,
yeah, of the 3 local teams, they're probably in the best position. Although I will continue to say, and I will go on the mat with them and say I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if Warren Harding at 32 gave Massillon Jackson a really good game. It would not surprise me. But, again, Massillon Jackson is the 3 seed, and they're a really good team.
They're a different animal.
We'll see what happens there. Fitch against Lakeside. I actually like Fitch, even though they're the higher seed. Fitch is 24. Lakeside is 18. I actually like Fitch in that game. But then you run into Akron-Hoban. That's probably not.
That's problematic.
Yeah, that's probably not going to be a good thing. We'll take a timeout, open up some phone lines, 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. Stick around.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, before you make that commitment, you owe it to yourself to go over to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Give them an opportunity to earn your business. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Speaking of disappointed, a lot of teams will be disappointed when we get this tournament going, but a handful of teams that I think have a legitimate chance to really make some noise.
All but 4 teams in their season with a loss, so
this is true.
They're going to be disappointed at some point.
This is true. As we have now gone through D1 through D4 and looking at the matchups, give me some teams in your mind, Anthony, that have a really good chance to make some serious noise.
Struthers. I mean, they're stacked talent-wise, and they're deep on the bench, and they play good defense, and I just think they have a lot of chances to make a deep run. You can't go against McDonald, even though they've had trouble in the regional for the last couple of years. Now I think they're more balanced than they were before.
How surprised are you, on a scale of 1 to 10, that JFK said, we'll jump right into McDonald's district?
Not surprised, because I think that's the mentality of, would you rather beat McDonald for a district, or would you rather go into the district where you're the hands-down favorite? I mean, they probably would have washed away the other district if they went into it. But then it's like, if you do that, do you really feel good about yourselves? I mean, No, I'm not surprised. I think that's the competitor's mentality to go and say, we match up with McDonald. We think we can break their press, and we think we can beat them. I'm not surprised. But I think McDonald still has a good chance of getting out of there and then making a run in the region.
I mean, does this have something to do with who you're playing in the region? Because I'm trying to figure out why you would go into the top seed instead of being the top seed of your own district tournament. And I'm looking at the region that is opposite McDonald, that region. And whoever comes out of McDonald's region, Greenwich South Central is the top seed in this particular district. This would be the Willard district. Greenwich South Central is the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed is Castalia Margaretta, which if they win, we can go, hey Margaretta, and do a little dance there before a game. Norwalk St. Paul is the 3. I mean, that's Northeast 2 plays that region. Northeast 1 is the region JFK would have gone to had they decided not to crash McDonald's party. But you look at Northeast 3, Richmond Heights, who is the overwhelming favorite, the best team in the region. Is that have something to do with JFK sitting back and saying, you know what, we're going to take our chances and go to McDonald's bracket, and then if everything falls into place, we'll play Richmond Heights in the regional title.
Right. And that might be why. I mean, I don't know if coaches are looking that far ahead when they're trying to, because you gotta win district first. But it could definitely be a reason to think that hey, if we win this district, we have a lot better matchup in that district than we do in the other one. So definitely a decision factor.
Well, now that you have JFK and McDonald out of that district, now you're looking at Heartland Christian at number 3. You're looking at Southern at 9, Lisbon at 7, Wellsville at 5, Bristol at 4, Lowellville at 6. You have a crapshoot. And whoever happens to win this is going to wind up having to play, in all likelihood, Richmond Heights in the regional semifinals.
And, all we're going to say with that is good luck.
Yeah, well, there you go.
May the odds be ever in your favor, as the Hunger Games would
I
say.
would be, you brought up Struthers. I would be ecstatic if Struthers was playing in the region that does not include Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. Because Warrensville Heights, the 3 seed, they're beatable. I think they're beatable. For Poland or Cheney, I think that they're beatable. I think there is a possibility that the Poland, Cheney, West Branch, Salem district winner goes further in the tournament than Struthers. Because Struthers, whoever comes out of that, and we assume it's Struthers, they're going to have to wind up playing Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. That's going to be tough.
Yes, but like I said, it's not the St. Vincent, St. Mary that everyone would be terrified of, like the dynasty back in the 2000s. And
agreed.
They're beatable, and Struthers has plenty of talent. I think Struthers can win that game, and if they did, then they would have a really good line to the district to the regional championship. Because even if Poland beats Warrenville Heights, Struthers handled them in the first matchup, and I think Struthers would match up really well against Poland. And if it happens to be someone else like Cheney, I think Struthers has enough talent to beat them too. So I think the Struthers has the best chance to go far in my mind.
I think Springfield has the best chance in Division III because I'm looking at their regional opponent, Creston Norwayne, Apple Creek, Waynedale. I think that Springfield can play with them. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think Springfield can play with them. The opposite side, unfortunately, is Murderers Row, Northeast 4, because Northeast 4 is going to have Cleveland Heights Lutheran East, which is the heavy favorite to come out of Division III, come out of that region. Lutheran East is the really good team. And, oh, by the way, they may get some company in that Worcester Triway is a pretty solid program. But whoever comes out of that particular district is going to be playing the Mooney, Crestview, LeBray districts.
Waterloo.
And Waterloo is, But Lutheran East is so, oh, God, they're an impressive team. Springfield might be able to finagle themselves a regional championship appearance.
You're right, they might. I think they have a good shot at getting out of their district. A lot of people avoided Springfield. But I think the opposite thing is if Struthers gets past St. Vincent St. Mary, they have a really good chance to just win the region.
I agree.
If Springfield gets past Norway, and then they run into a brick wall or it could be a brick wall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, obviously we would love to see an all-local regional championship matchup.
That would be insane.
Which might exist in Division II. There's a probably the best chance of it happening in Division II. Much as I'd love to see it in Division III, I don't know if Mooney or Waterloo or LeBray or Crestview could knock off a Lutheran East. Mooney, if they're on their A game, maybe. The other three programs, probably not. Division II, if Struthers is on their A game, they'll give St. V's, assuming they would play them, assuming that we get that. It would be a great game. Honestly, Cheney, Poland, West Branch, Salem, they could be waiting in a regional championship game. How cool would that be for a Struthers Poland or a Struthers Cheney or?
Hey, it'd be good for us, no matter what. We get a team in state.
No doubt, absolutely. Anyway, thanks to Dana Balish for coming on board, and thank you very much to Bob Hannon, who we will be hearing from every Monday. What is the final update of the YSU game?
Penguins won 60-50.
All right, Penguins beat Rochester 60-50 in their tune-up game, which it's a good win. I was expecting something a little bit better, but,
it was 33-32 like halfway through the second half. And
yeah.
then the Penguins went on a 14-0 run, and then Rochester answered it with like a 7-0 run, and then it just kind of evened out from there.
Yikes. DJ and the fellas have Power Hour, and I'm sure they'll be talking about the Super Bowl and whatnot. We will probably talk about it on Wednesday when Anthony has far less of a broken heart.
When I've recovered from my wound.
Yeah,
I feel pretty good today. So we talked about it at the top a little bit.
We promised that we would go through the high school tournaments, and that's exactly what we did. We'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3, Tuesday edition of Running Point Power Hour.